Right, I'm out of here. Joe's by himself, not for too long. Go get him, Joe.
And now we are here and ready, guys. Hope everyone had a beautiful weekend. And if you're north of the border, I hope you're staying warm. Or even if you're in some northern states, I hope you guys are staying warm because it is a chilly one here in Toronto, folks. Let me get the new feed going. Sorry, yeah, it's been a hectic one trading this morning. So again, guys, keep those risk measures in place. You don't want to be forcing anything, as Sean mentioned before, and the boys too. You don't want to be grabbing those falling knives, especially when they're sharp and that momentum is working against you. So here we are, guys. A lovely Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Monday for some reason. So we'll have to get that going. And yeah, it's been a hectic one, so good stuff. We had the inauguration over the weekend as well, too, so a lot going on, but let's do some roll call here, even though my guy Sharif is now in the building. What's up, everybody? We got Andrew Chow. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, we're clicking buttons here. TX Trader, JC Finance, Mr. Lion, Bbot 5000. Why not? I guess why not, right? Just cause. So we got those guys. Hygie S, sorry if I butcher your name. Sir Mr. M, what's going on? Pickle Juice, Rogelo Concepcion, what's going on? Maria L. Options Ed, hey, I've never seen you in the chat before. What's going on, Options Eddie? I hope you had a good weekend. And I hope everybody else did as well, too. So 95 GT, what's going on, people? Ronaldo, Oscarito, I seen you there over in the other chat as well, too. What's going on? What's up, Mr. Katina Man? He's not here yet. He's left, actually, TBD. Yeah, Mr. Katina Man, he's gone swimming, so back in the gym. That's what consistency is, folks. You can miss a couple days, but then just getting right back on that saddle and on that horse is what you need to do, and that's where you're going to find that consistency. We talk about that in our day-to-day practice, whether it be going to the gym and whatever you do is just staying consistent. That's how you get better and better each day, my guy.
I thought you just like woke up, you didn't sesh and everything's golden.
Everything's golden.
Everything's golden.
Pony boy golden.
What's up, beautiful people? Sorry, I'm late to the party. Still getting set up here. Joseph, what a day it has been on these markets. Yes, there's several small cap gappers running up right now. We're going to talk about CHRO. We're going to talk about USEG and others. Good names, obviously. But you're really what's in focus today, for me anyway, is the MEG. And that's because some of them are getting shellacked, i.e. Apple, i.e. Tesla. Tesla trying to defend that 410 area. We'll talk more about that, but it's really Apple holding on for dear dang life onto that 220 area. Oh, baby. Before we even started tanking after the bell, I was telling the Katina man, we were already 13.5 percentage points off that 260 bump and drop. And now we're obviously a lot lower than that, so we're going to have to do the upgraded mathematics there. But we're already down 3 4/5, Joseph.
Yeah.
Just to start the lesson here. But I'm going to send it back to you super quick. I got to throw the headset on. Ram's going to kill me if I don't send her the tickers.
Get the headset on, get the tickers going. I mean, yeah, it's a scrambling morning. We're scrambling around a little bit, and that's okay, guys. But hey, here we are. We're going to get into the lesson of the day while Sharif gets ready, and then we're going to get into some trading, all right? So we're going to talk a little bit about pivot points, and then I promise you guys we're going to do some playbook stuff. That is this Thursday. So, I mean, the people get what the people want. So pivot points today, how to construct your trading playbook on Thursday. So looking forward to that one here, guys. But let's dive right into this and get this party started. Let's rage, as one of my old friends used to say. So here we go, guys. This is a basic understanding. Just throw that in. Yeah, let's rage, man. Camarilla pivot points, calculations, support and resistance, R1 to R6, S1 to S6, examples, timeframes, and then we are going to put all that stuff together here. So let's get in. We got a lot of material to cover. So Camarilla pivot points are a set of technical analysis tools used by traders to identify potential support and resistance levels within the market. Ability to provide precise entry and exit points. Camarilla pivot points are similar to Fibonacci pivot points, but use a different calculation method that incorporates the previous day's highs, lows, and close prices. Unlike Fibonacci pivot points, Camarilla pivot points are preset and recalculated each trading session and or month, all right? So it kind of leaves that subjectivity out of the cams, right? So everything is preset when you turn on your platform in the morning, whatever it may be. Those are already preset, especially if you have that fixed and saved to your chart. And one thing that I noticed this morning as well too, guys, we're gonna talk about the breakup and breakdown. Oh, the other one? Okay, perfect, thank you. So what was it? So again, Camarilla pivot points, preset calculated trading sessions and or months. So one thing that I just mentioned is that it eliminates that subjectiveness out of the fibs, and this is preset, so if you have the indicator saved on your platform, you will see these calculations and these pivot points on a daily basis, okay? And one thing that I did this morning was when I opened my laptop right at home, I always check the cams because they are there, and I check out for breakout and breakdown territories. And if you look at Tesla at the open this morning, opens up under R4, okay? And if I show you my notes, it's exactly that. It said, beware of this breakdown territory in Tesla, and sure enough, we got that aggressive selling, okay? So Camarilla pivot points are calculated by previous close highs and lows, as previously stated. Focus on understanding how to utilize the tool and not worry about the calculations, for they are preset indicator. But if you are curious, here are the calculations for R4 and S4. They're all identical, okay, on that front. So support and resistance levels, understanding S1 to S6 and R1 to R6 will help determine where potential pivots in price action may occur. So when I say S1 to S6, that's support level 1 to support level 6, and then resistance level 1 to resistance level 6. The lower the number, the less support the pivot may provide. As the SNR levels increase, this can indicate the stronger support or resistance found in the underlying asset. At support and resistance 1, the first pivot level can indicate minor support and resistance. As for SNR 3, the third pivot level can often be considered a significant level of support and resistance. So, and then we go on to R4 and S4. The fourth pivot is the most common pivot used in the Camarilla system. They can indicate key levels of rejections and breakouts. S4 can indicate a very strong support and resistance structure. As I just mentioned, if you guys want to pull up your trading platform, implement the cams with or without pre-market data, and see where Tesla opened up this morning, you're going to see that breakdown territory in Tesla. It's sitting right under R4, and then sure enough, we got the flush at the open. Okay, so how to use Camarilla pivots. Traders can use Camarilla pivot points to identify potential reversal points in the market. Here are some common strategies. So breakout trading, if the price opens up on top of S4 or R4, all right, so price trading into those levels, it can indicate a strong trend in that direction. Traders may enter positions in the directions of the breakout, expecting the trend to continue, all right? So breakdown trading. When the price opens up below the support and resistance levels, S4 and R4, traders look for signs of a reversal. So instead of trading down into, you're trading up into those, and then that's when you can look into the rejections, and that's the prime example of Tesla this morning, okay? So here we go, guys. Here's another prime example of what I was just explaining, trading into S4. Now, are they going to be definitive? No. I always like to use that term, the elastic effect, right? So you can see that here on the cues, trading into S4. It holds it on the 5-minute, but you can see those indecision 5-minute prints under those S4 levels, and then sure enough, continue to bounce, okay? So when we bounce off of those levels, we get that move as close to previous day close, okay? So that will always be PDC on my chart. And then the same thing here. It's the exact same thing, but the inverse here on IBIT. Not necessarily a definitive brick wall, right? You get the elastic effect within the support and resistance levels, but sure enough, the inability to break up and then breaks down. So the key point that I want to mention on both of these here is you trade into this level, from the top side into it and bounce, right? And then here you trade above it, have the inability to trade into, break and hold it, and then you trade into it again, and then you break down, okay? So that is something that we want. And here we go. Here's an instance on where Tesla doesn't R4 breakout. Unlike today, if you were to compare today's chart, this chart here with today's price action, you will notice the complete opposite, the polar opposite. Here we sit on top of R4 and then breakout. But one key thing is this traverse here from R4 to previous day close, bounce off a previous stage close, and then do the R4 breakout, okay? So here we are again, and then here it is from a broader perspective, from a monthly standpoint, and you can see how these levels are highly respected. The R4 and S4 levels, highly respected. And also, guys, just keep in mind, it's not something you're going to be able to grasp overnight. It takes a lot of screen time, but then once you understand how these levels are respected, then you have the ability to identify a where and a when, okay, within your trading. So where is price action? Okay, it's under R4. When am I going to look for the breakdown once it rejects it, okay? So we have that there, guys. And then here's another example of Apple bouncing off some S4 levels and rejecting them. Nice indecision. S4 break up here, S4 break up here, R4 break up here, R3 break up there, and another R4 break up here, guys, okay? And here's another example on NVDA, looking at the same pivots, but just from a monthly standpoint. These will be calculated on a monthly basis, and then they will not change throughout that whole duration of those 20 trading sessions or 22 trading sessions throughout the month, okay? So putting everything all together, run your morning pre-market analysis and select which underlying assets best fits your trading criteria, determine which zones and underlying you are analyzing is in, scan through the monthly and intraday pivot points, determine if you are in a breakout or breakdown zone, monitor the open and the overall sentiment of the underlying and the overall market. Wait for precise entry and exit levels when key pivot levels come into play. And that is it today, folks. As I mentioned before, guys, if you want a cheat sheet on how the Camarilla pivots work, just DM me on X and I will send them to you. Bear vs. Bulls always posts my X handle. So if you guys want that, I will DM you guys. I know a lot of people have already, and I sent them the pivot level cheat sheet. So if you guys want that cheat sheet, guys, and the full understanding of the Camarilla pivots, I will send you those. All you gotta do is just DM me on X. But
they gotta slide in.
They gotta slide in the DMs.
They don't slide in.
If they don't slide in, they ain't getting the cheat sheet. So there we are, brother. What do you got going on today?
We
already got it.
Yeah, bro.
Already.
We sit down. We
don't
look
even
for
let
these
me get,
small cap
dude,
cappers,
my
Joseph.
guy.
We don't really waste a whole lot of time.
All right. I see
USE dang G. We're long at 15s, Joseph. We went the beak all the way up to 40s. Here comes 38s. I'm waiting at 45s next. Then I'm going to look to de-risk even more if we get into that $0.5. USEG is a trade de novo. And I like to act pretentious on the midday and like flex my Latin. And what that means... Is that you there, Ram?
It was.
She's challenging me, eh? You saw that, Joseph?
No way,
You saw that,
dude.
Joseph? What's going on over there? Why are you getting excited about
No,
that?
man.
Freaking me out over here, Joseph. All right, we're waiting at 45s. 45 on the bid now here on USEG. Stacking up the bid at 45s. Here we go. It's going to have to cross for me to get filled. Packing my patience. So 45 is the first level I'm looking to wet my beak at. Then we're going to look to de-risk in front of 50 because, well, that's obviously the psychological area of resistance. And bang, there it is. Now we're waiting at 49s, Joseph. Let's see if we got multiple outs here. So let's go ahead and sit on the north side of 50. We're going to sit at 56's random area, but I'm a random guy. So what I was trying to say before I got interrupted by Ram was this is a trade de novo. And what I mean by trade de novo is that this one wasn't flexing in the pre-market. It did bupkis in the pre-market. In fact, it did bupkis till exactly 11 o'clock. Someone turned on the buy program or the headline came out. I don't care. Okay, I'm using this as a technical break. Don't really care about the fundamentals. Just want to confirm that there's a headline. That's it. Here comes 50. There goes 50, Joseph. Dang. So we're printing on this one. So what trade de novo means is it basically starts getting its footing under it during the regular market hours, not at the open at 9:30 and not in the pre-market where the majority of these bad boys continue or start running. They oftentimes we hear that they've had the best trade really early on when nobody was really trading quite yet. 7 a.m., 7:30, boom!
Dang.
We take out the highs there at 59 now. You know where I'm going to set up. If we're in the 60s, you know where I'm setting up. We're going to go ahead and wait at 69er for that next print. This one's really squeezing here up 50 some odd percent. I really don't know where to expect this one to reject. I didn't do any TA past the 5 minutes, so I don't know what the heavy levels of support and resistance are. It behooves me to do it right now. Let's do it. Okay, so let's flip into the 4 hour. Okay, so this has been running for a hot minute, and by hot minute I mean September. So been higher highs, higher lows. It hasn't had an outsized day like this, nor has it had nearly as much volume as this, but you can see it's been getting off the schneid, as my friend Neil likes to say, for a little bit. It reclaimed that dollar, basically, in the late part of September. Let's flip to the daily. Okay, so it's doing well. I mean, it's not the best looking chart. It's had, you know, outsized days where it's given back quite a bit. I'm talking about March 2022. That seems to be the biggest outsized day since today. We're up to 67s now, as I see, and you know where I'm waiting. I'm waiting at 69, so we're going to continue to wait. Let's go to the weekly on this because I really need to zoom out even more. And the weekly, for some reason, doesn't work on some of these charts that I have on. I have no idea why. So the last time we were up at $4, Joseph, that takes us all the way back. Whoa, to August, mid to late August of 2022. That is the last time we were up here. 72s just printed, and you know what happens when 72 prints? That means by default 69 just printed. We're dropping the cash, baby. And now we're setting up on the north side. We're gonna set up at 82s because that's the year I'm born and I like it. So we're going to wait up there. 72s now showing on the 75, 77s. Let's go, baby. I'm waiting at 82. Let's see if this bad boy can squeeze. And it just occurred to me that I did not give you any details on USEG. Here we go, USEG. The float, a large, a hefty, a nice 6.31 million shares. And Bupkis in terms of short float, 0.81, nothing to write home about there, but it is looking like it is a bit top heavy at the moment here. Look, I'm going to be de-risking the majority of this position into 4. Okay, still got several more outs on this, but if we weasel into 4, given what we did back in August of 2022, and I'm saying that a little facetiously over here, boom, we take out 82, Joseph. All right, we're going to wait now we're going to wait at 95s. All right, we're going to wait at 95s. No, that's my last out. Okay, so I don't want to take it out here. Should I wait for a squeeze through 4? Absolutely, I should. There goes 405. Boom, we're done the trade here. Joseph, appreciate you, Adara. USEG, Neil says bye-bye. It's over. USEG squeezing up bigly over here. I used that one on purpose. Up into 67%, was a lot higher at 412. Bang. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
you know I feel you on that.
You know what I mean,
feel you
bro?
on that. That's
brother man.
Alan Cuves, I hope I'm not butchering your name, my man. I smell a bang coming on. Your boy Ozan in China. Yes, China is in focus again. The orange man yesterday making no bones about it. He wants to strike a deal with China. We're just going to have to wait and see what that deal looks like and who gets the better part of that deal. Because, well, you know, your boy David Tepper was out there pounding the desk in September saying buy everything in terms of China. Could he have had it right? Was he like 4 or 5, 2 months early?
Let's take a look at some of this China stuff here, my guy.
Absolutely, sir.
Let's pull up some K-Web here.
Yes, sir.
What do we got? We got a nice, it's not looking too pretty, to be honest, but that's just one day. But again, we don't have too much news on that anyways. There's nothing really proficient, I guess you can say, that says, hey, buy it just yet. But I think if they do decide to strike a deal, we will be able to tell within the price action of some of these larger names, these ADRs, but as of today, not necessarily the case, Sharif. But hey, if you're looking for the anticipation, you're like, hey, let's buy buy China. There's some other ETFs that I'm not going to, that I don't recall, but now is the time, I guess, right? So we had the potential stimulus here. This is stimmy here, right? This is stimmy here. That's the stimmy money right here, and then this is Wall Street being like, hey, we don't really like the stimmy, and then a second news article, some more by the rumor right here came out. Then the street doesn't like it again, but here we are now. Trump officially in office. He's signing a lot of documents this weekend. He said he was going to.
EOs, baby, executive order. See his little desk that he set up there, stacked full of like leather binders. He's just signing away. He's got his little Sharpie there. He started throwing out the Sharpies to people in the crowd.
So I watched the first couple minutes of the inauguration, and he just rips the previous admin. Like, did you see him? He's like, we've been held captive for so long. Him and Camarilla are right there. He's like, held hostage. America's gonna be greater than ever. So just he's a great showman.
It would have been less awkward if they were outside. There's a little bit of
or not in the room,
noise. You know what I mean?
Not like where Adara would be sitting compared to like where we are, right?
Super awkward.
Yeah. So
see when he talked about the Gulf of Mexico, or where he wants to call it the Gulf of America, Hillary Clinton just started chuckling.
Did she?
Yeah. It was so funny.
Of course, but that's the type of guy he is. We mentioned this before. It's like, okay, Biden wants to ban it. He doesn't want to ban it. If it was the inverse of that, he'd be like, yeah, we're banning it, and everything along those lines. Guys, but let's get back into
Yes, sir.
Let's get back into some trading. So that's Baba. Sharif's probably on to something. Like, you want to buy when there's blood in the streets, right? And then hopefully get that nice appreciation within the price action. So again, yeah, those are good looks. You're probably getting those ADRs at a discount at this point. So again, don't fully allocate your position all at once. Like, break it into quarters or even a little bit less, fifths, and then slowly just piece into it. And once it starts to work, then that's when you can start to add into those positions if there's going to be any relative strength. But just understand that, look at the gap up that I showed you guys on BABA from a day-to-day basis. That's so hard to sit through from a volatility standpoint. But let's see what Adara's up to.
Sector board, once again here, not a lot of red names actually on the day, despite the fact that the market's pretty flat. That's because, as discussed earlier, Apple and Tesla are really leading this market to the downside, both, of course, very large market cap names. But what about some of these other sharply red names that aren't Apple or Tesla? We're going to take a look right now, starting here with Walgreens Boots Alliance, WBA. This looks like a bit of a flat bottom break here. Lower highs and this big push to the downside with a bit of what Sharif would call the hockey stick pattern showing up here as well. Walgreens Boots Alliance facing a lawsuit from the U.S. Justice Department. This was filed on Friday. And it does have to do here, apparently, with the company being accused of filing or filling some of these opioid prescriptions that they knew had no medical purpose. So WBA getting brought into the opioid crisis here by the Justice Department. Next up, we have OXY. No specific catalyst in Oxy. Oil is weak as a whole, but it is worth noting here, actually, as of Monday, Donald Trump and Melania's meme coins had a combined market cap above that of Occidental. One thing as well to note here with OXY is there is a bit of a technical level that we broke below of $52. You can take a look at that on the 15-minute chart. Last but not least, KEY, Key Corp, down about 4% here, though it is trying to recover a little bit on its Q4 earnings. They did beat here for EPS, and they did have revenue well below expectations, unfortunately, $865 million versus $1.743 million. This did have to do with a loss on their sale of securities valued at around $1 billion. So KEY with a bit of a revenue miss there. Make sure to vote in our polls. We have 3 throughout the day. At 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., you vote on the tickers you want to see in the rundown at 2 p.m. Then at 12 p.m., you vote for the Playmaker poll, in which you decide which direction you want Sharif and Joe to trade the SPY, long side or short side. Like and subscribe. Back to you.
Appreciate that, Adara. I wanted to chime in a little bit here about Walgreens Boots Alliance, WBA, getting slapped with a suit. And, you know, this is a very controversial topic. So this is the business that my family deals with, and I have quite a bit of experience as a pharmacy technician, standing side by side with the pharmacist, typically my old man back in the day, and we'd fill prescriptions. And let me tell you, there was so many different situations that we encountered. We encountered individuals who were double doctoring. So if you had an original prescription for an opioid, they'd go and doctor shop at clinics to get another prescription, sometimes showing them a vial with an entire story about pain, this, that, and the other. And then it would sometimes be incumbent upon us to call and verify with the doctor, is this a legitimate prescription? But as we all know, doctors are very efficient at answering their phones, and they always reply back in a timely manner. I am being being very sarcastic. And so sometimes we would call when the prescription was getting filled and there was no doctor that we could verify the prescription with, and no methodology without the verification of the doctor to see if it was legitimate. And then you had a patient who was basically telling you they were in exorbitant amount of pain. What are you supposed to do? So sometimes what we would do is we would give them what we call a holdover fill. We would give them a very small amount till the next day when we could call and verify with the doctor. It's incumbent upon you as a pharmacist, as an owner, to take all reasonable measures. What those reasonable measures are different in each circumstance. So we're gonna have to see, is this a blanket lawsuit that says company policy directed pharmacists to not be duly diligent, or are we gonna have to go on a piecemeal basis and analyze every prescription that's allegedly given incorrectly? Being in the industry, I would not be comfortable at all but painting with one smooth brush like that on all cases, because I know how nuanced it is. Now, having said that, did Walgreens have not opportunity, but did they have the motivation to profit from, untoward activities? Absolutely, and that works against them, but it's not determinative, Joseph, and that's the thing. So I'd like to see this play out a little bit more. I know it's an ugly headline, and I know we definitely have an opioid epidemic in this part of the world, and if it's not coming from the pharmacies, Joseph, it's coming from overseas, and then it's being cooked in the southern countries. And by the way, I want to mention one thing that I mentioned on the show one time, that it was being spoken about really like on a real basis, that the cartels could be now viewed as terrorist organizations, and we would have special forces looking to take them out.
Really?
And guess what Donald Trump signed yesterday?
What did he sign?
He designated the cartels as terrorist entities.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And he was asked specifically by Peter Doocy during that Oval Office press conference, informal over, will you go after them with special forces? He's like, I wouldn't rule it out, maybe. Yeah. And when the orange man says maybe, watch out.
So there you go. That can definitely happen. You know what's funny? I actually watched an opioid crisis documentary over the weekend about based in Cape Cod, so I guess Massachusetts area. Sorry if I butchered that, but yeah, it's not good. That's for sure. Very dangerous, and I know years and years ago they changed from like pill form to the liquid gel form, so you couldn't do whatever you're gonna do with that.
They do a lot of that.
Yeah, so
try to make it
exactly so you can't even though people will find a way, but it's unfortunate that we had to go down that road. But sure enough, I do think that these cartels can definitely be classified as terrorist organizations. Look what they do in their own country.
In their country.
Exactly. And then they bring the violence north of their border. But yeah, guys, sorry to suck. It's not good stuff. So yeah, WBA, not a good look for them on that front. So here we are, guys, sitting in some TQs. Let's see if we can kind of break up the volume weighted average price. Here it is. Here is IBIT as well too, folks. Starting to really break out is Bitcoin, sitting around that $105,000 price target. We went up to as high as 106 not too long ago, and then 109 over the weekend, creating new all-time highs, constructing new all-time highs on Bitcoin. Meanwhile, while Trump coin and Milena coin were also trading significantly higher too, and then they got that rug pull. So I don't know how I feel about those two meme coins. Something I would necessarily be looking to avoid. But sure enough, if you're looking to have some speculative fun, then you can dive into those. But just be aware that those rug pulls can happen. I'm not going to compare it to Haktua coin or anything along those lines, but it's kind of the same, right? You're going to get people to pump it, and then I'm pretty sure with Trump coin, 80% of it is still held by his side of the party, which is like alarming amount that you would want. You don't necessarily want them to be holding that much, because then they can really, really manipulate the price on that front. So yeah, just be wary, guys. You can have fun with it, but just don't be looking to YOLO any of those positions whatsoever. But yeah, here we are, guys. IBIT starting to pull back a little bit, and let's take a look at the TQQs one more time before we send it back to Shreve. Let's see if we can hold the volume-weighted average price and then break up, or we're going to break these 93.16 levels, or 83.16, sorry, and then continue to the so side That's it. Yeah, that's it for now, guys. Let's see what we got going on for top volume. Scanners, I can tell you probably who's at the top of the class, but it's always good to see what everybody's up to. And that's NVIDIA. So NVDA, 69.5 million shares traded on the session. SoundHound, 50.8, and then Tesla with 49.1. But keep in mind, I have my filter like Sharif has his filter for his small cap gappers. Mine is something along those lines as well too, guys. So let's just keep that in mind. So mine's about any stock over $15 and then 1 million shares traded in the pre-market session. So yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Just shout out to Other Zinc. Shout out to Jay Lee. Shout out to Coffee Trader. I'm looking at ASST. I've got it up on the side chart as well. Shout out to Danny Nahas. Can we look at Apple? I told him I'm looking for a 220 bounce. Adara is also looking at Apple. Perhaps you should tag her in the chat for her to give you her levels. Shout out to my man Ozan. Dabba Dabba Doo looking to get Joe's X handle for the pivot lesson.
Oh, okay,
your boy
cool.
Dabba Dabba Doo in the chat looking for that lesson. I don't know if you want to reach out to him.
Yeah,
here's what I'm looking at, ladies and gents. These are the trusty the eight small cap gappers or small cap gapper like stocks that I'm looking at on the day. So we were already involved heavily here in USEG. It's defending for, it hasn't come down into that 375, 380 area. The reason I'm looking at that 380, 375 area, that is the volume weighted average price. It's kind of doing a bit of a bull flag consolidation now. There's your big move up, and then we know what the bull flag looks like. We've seen zillions of them on these small cap gappers, big move up, sideways consolidation, and then a break through the top. We'll have to see, does this one manifest in that fashion or not? So keep an eye out on that one. CHRO, I was looking at this one. When I sat down, it was trading above VWAP. It is no longer trading above VWAP, but that's okay because your boy BBAI up 14% is trading above VWAP. In fact, it's been very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. That is the solid green line on my charts. I'm interested in BBAI. Your boy Rigetti, knees, palms are heavy right here. RGTI just printed a 1288 HOD. It retraced into the 10 exponential and what I perceive to be an area resistance initially. There's that initial bull flag up, and we had all sorts of trouble with 1250 with the closing prints all at 1230. We come back into that level after making that new 1288 high a day. Lo and behold, where do we hold up? Oh, that's right, 1233. Good look there. So resistance flips to support. We see it often on these small cap gappers. So Rigetti, certainly in focus right now. RKLB, Rocket Labs, also having itself a day over here, 27.75%. This one's a little bit harder for me to kind of interpret. I was looking for either a 29.50 retracement because that's where VWAP is, or look at that 29.25 retracement for that initial area resistance, that initial bull flag up before we made the second bull flag. So what I see here on Rocket Labs is two continuous bull flags. You get that big boy break right at 9:30, and then you get the break of that 29.30 area right at 10:20. So we're kind of forming the lower end right now of what I perceive to be the second bull flag there on RKLB, up 28 and change with 31.64 HOD on RKLB. That one is looking good as well. SMR, shout out to SMR. Good day for it on Friday. Another good day today, another higher high. Knocking the door, Joseph, of that $25 area, 24.98 HOD. We printed that at the IB high, right at 9, I believe, 49.35, something like that. But we are working our way now more incrementally to that level rather than in a straight line like we did at the open. This one did go into that 22.5, held up, and now we are looking at 25 again. Last but certainly not least, Pretty Dang Panda. You told me about this one, LITM. This one started its life at around 89 pennies. From what I can see, the closing print on Friday was, and this one has been awfully respectful as well of higher highs and higher lows, printing that $1.10 HOD. Obviously, you've heard me say this many times on the show. It is a fundamentally different trade north and south of $1. That's something that I've observed over the years. That's something that Neil has taught me many times. But Luis Barbado from Day Trade the World in Spain, or sorry, Real Trading now in Barcelona, Spain, brought something to my attention that I didn't actually know. And he's a small cap gapper trader himself. In fact, he trades all his traders on the floor to trade these small cap gappers. He's like, look, there are algos that trade these openly and aggressively that will stop trading them once they're below that dollar. That's something that I didn't know. So obviously you have a liquidity issue, especially with continuity to the high side, which is how I trade these. I rarely ever short these small cap gappers. So that concerns me if we give way at the dollar. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. It's very respectful right now of the 10 exponential. I haven't had any closing print south of the 10 since we took the 10 at 9:35 a.m. I'm talking about the 10 exponential on the 5-minute chart. We have a $1.10 HOD. We're at $1.05 right now, a previous area of resistance as well as a 10 exponential. I like LITM, but this is one of those ones where you're going to have to size up substantially to make any decent money. It's a dollar name. It's giving you 5, 15, 20 pennies. So you can imagine the shareage you need over here for that. There goes USEG defending for like a dang glove, a few wicks below $4, and there it goes again, Joseph, into 486. This one is destined for 5. It is now officially a triple-digit winner on the day, up 107%. We earmarked that $5 area possibly for resistance. That goes all the way back to August of 2022. I think we're probably going to get above that given the strength right now. USEG, the best-looking small-cap gapper out there in my humble estimation. Joseph Wilson.
Okay, I see. Dropping it. Okay, dropping it like that. Nick W., thoughts on Google? I mean, we touched all-time highs here today on GOOGL, so Alphabet and company here, guys. Let's zoom out and take a look. A nice gap up. We sit on top of these daily resistance zones, but then I mentioned I had this marked before, so we double topped up here and then rejected that 202 level, extremely aggressive as the overall market continued to sell. So here we are selling Google, dragging the overall market down with it as well too, folks. So let's keep that in mind, and the market is starting to pull back as well too. So something to keep your eyes on, but here we are with some Apple, Sharif, continuing to the downside, breaking through some massive support systems here. Is Apple now over 13% off of those all-time highs? 15% now off of the highs. So taking a slacking on this is Apple. So good outs there in the LT. You're liking that one. So when you see this parabolic price action, it's like, okay, start taking some profit up here. That price action is not sustainable, and then sure enough, we have given more back. So we're getting right back to where we started, Sharif. So not the best look on Apple. We do know they report in a couple of weeks, so we need to keep our eyes out on that as well too, folks. So yeah, tough look in some of the big names here today, especially on Tesla. That opening drive on Tesla, extremely weak. I mentioned here before, hopefully some of you guys pulled up your Camarilla pivot points and looked at Tesla and see where it opened up, and then you can correlate it with that R4 breakdown. And that's what the momentum seems to be on today's session, is to the downside. So a nice recovery up to the volume weighted average price, but then you get that elastic effect as that I refer to all the time, and now heading back lower. From an intraday standpoint, the Qs are an absolute mess. Really tough trading, so don't force anything, guys. Have your definitive plans in place, 2 or 3 stabs at a specific trade. That is my thesis, and that's what I go to. Maybe we'll touch on that in constructing a playbook, but that's just a methodology that I've always gone by. 2, 3 attempts max, and then I have to reassess the situation and accept the fact that my timing was off and I can't take that trade anymore, all right? So I think it's good for longevity. It helped me a lot so you don't get those impulsive moves. It happens from time to time where you're just punching keys and you're like, it's frustrating, you're in and out, getting stopped out, in and out, getting stopped out, left, right, and center. And at that point, it's just sit back, relax, understand that today is not your day, and there will always be another session where you can get involved, and then chances are it's going to be better than sessions like this today. So this isn't necessarily breakout price action that you want to be looking at here. If we can pull up my screen, perfect. And you can see how all these candles are just overlapping, and that's not a good time. I don't know if you guys seen that South Park episode where they're talking about skiing, and if you don't pizza, you're not gonna have a good time. And then this is the case. So if you're just holding on, trying to anticipate that breakout and catching the falling knife, chances are you're not gonna be having too much of a good time. So just sit back and let price discover which direction it wants to go and then look to participate on that. And it's like, well, Joe, how do you determine which way price wants to go? We'll just follow the volume by time profile, see where you can go. Once that volume kicks in and we break key levels, you're going to see that what's that word? That orderly price action within the underlying assets. So again, in this instance, not necessarily something you're going to be looking for breakout trading, Sharif.
All right, shout out to Tisha Perkins, man. She's calling out HUSA. This is on the MX exchange, guys. HUSA, big move up right into that. Where did that go? 259 HOD. Double top right now, Tisha, on the 5-minute at 259s. I've put my dip trade here in the mid to low 40s. Let's see if it wants to hold up at this area price action resistance. I'm going to give this one the old college try. I see USEG continuing to run 558 HOD. What a move up for USEG. I'm keeping an eye on it. I got to do better with not letting these ones off the hook. I've given credit to the Katina man. I've given credit to Adara. They're excellent at trading these ones continually. So they'll extract profits and then they'll stick with the same trade. I have trouble of like getting attention deficit for whatever reason. Once I'm done the trade, I stop looking at it. That ain't the right move. I should be sticking with it because this one definitely gave you more to the upside. We've got now a 559 HOD on your friend USEG, but I'm keeping my eye out on HUSA right now. Now, this one doesn't trade as aggressively. HUSA, what's the volume on this one? All right, so we've got 5 1/3 million shares, which is not bad. And here are the details on HUSA. HUSA. What do we got on this? Okay, so we got a float of around 10 million shares and a short float of around 7.1%. So not big, definitely. It's defending 2.5 here from what I'm seeing. All the dips below 2.5 are being bought up, or so I perceive it to be. So, I mean, I can get in here a small position and then look to get in the larger position at my entry. But this one is not going to give me the opportunity. It doesn't look like it. Here goes another HOD, 265 right now on HUSA. So, eek, this one is an interesting one. How do we chase this bad boy? This is going 269 now, HOD. All right, here we go. Let's give this one. I hate punching in at highs. I hate it. All right, so let's watch it over here. Let's see if it wants to come down a little bit, possibly defend that 2.5 again. We can get into a partial position if it wants to defend that 2.5, and then I'll leave my order for that low 40s. I don't know. I think this one might run without me, Joseph, now. 270 HOD. This is a bit spreadier, too. It's got a 3 or 4 penny spread. Derek gets excited when I say it's spready. There it goes, a new high day into 74 as we go. It's time to punch in. We're going to give this one the old community college try. We're going to give this one up into here and come what may.
What is the community college try?
Feel like you're semi-trying a little bit there, you know? Like,
man.
The junior college
true. Yeah,
try,
the JUCO try.
Exactly,
That's
right?
great. So you're committed, but you're not really committed.
Right.
Oh, my days.
Joseph,
Yes,
USEG is continuing to go, guys. Now $6 on USEG. This is really going here. Very, very aggressive move. Adara's at the big desk.
We're going to take a look here at some of these earnings names here because we know earnings season is in full swing. We have a huge name reporting after the bell. But let's start with some of these tickers that actually reported this morning. How are they doing now? 3M stuck at a little bit of a range here. There's some clear resistance at that 148 halves level with slightly lower highs and slightly higher lows, but still up about 4.5% right now. We do have here an EPS beat and a sales beat. Guidance a little bit mixed here, seeing about sales growth from about 0.5% to 1.5% for the whole of 2025. And they're actually seeing adjusted earnings per share between $7.60 and $7.90. The midpoint of that would be about $7.75, which is slightly below estimates of $7.78. But some of the things he said in their conference call were a little bit cautious as well. They did basically warn that there are some issues here with consumer spending, saying that consumer discretionary spend is, quote, soft, especially in the U.S., but they did say that they see basically flat retail sales this year. They also say they expect Q1 sales growth to mirror that of what we saw in Q4. Then we have Charles Schwab here, SCHW. That thing gave up basically all of its upside move this morning and actually running into a little bit of resistance just above the pre-market high. Currently resting around the 78 halves level. They did beat on EPS and they did beat on sales. The other report was otherwise pretty strong as well. They did basically say that this was a 20% increase year over year on revenue. So report fairly strong. Also, after the bell, two pretty major earnings names. The larger of them is going to be Netflix. So make sure that that ticker is on your watch list. And EVA-LX is absolutely going to be hot today. Then UAL here, United Airlines, they're also going to be reporting. Both names scheduled to report right at 4 p.m. So check that out with Sean, myself, and Brian Shannon on 4 p.m. here, Trader TV Live. Last but not least, I want to draw some attention here to this earnings graphic. It's not yet been posted on TTV Research, so you're getting a sneak preview. But we will post this on X, TTV Research, post haste. Basically, what this graphic is doing is it's looking at the percentage of which these Mag 7 names actually were above or below their EPS estimates. So as you can see here, Amazon regularly significantly outperforms its EPS estimates by up to 25%. Meanwhile, Tesla, with the exception of this most recent quarter, actually regularly underperforms its EPS estimates by a pretty wide margin. So this is worth noting because we know we don't just want to see some of these tickers come in line with EPS estimates. We want to see them beat. So the extent to which these names actually beat their EPS estimates can be pretty key. With that in mind, some of the outstanding performers seem to be names like Meta, Google, and as mentioned before, Amazon. NVIDIA actually does not exceed its EPS estimates by the extent that you might expect. And as we mentioned, Tesla's a little bit weaker here as well. So check that out. It will be posted on TTV Research shortly, guys. Back to you.
Some excellent infographics from Adara. Make sure you are subscribed to Trader TV Research on X. Excellent stuff. Yeah, there's really not much to say other than it's excellent stuff, man. And she gave you a preview of that the day that we had the day off for Jimmy Carter. Yep. She really had a whole bunch there ready to go, just kind of showing you what it's all about.
I think excellent isn't giving it enough credit.
Well said.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I don't even know the word, to be honest with you. We'll just leave it at it's extraordinary. I love that stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful. So good job there, Adara. Extra. Read all about, but get, you know, remember, what was that, the news? Dennis the Menace, maybe, or something like that.
That was a show, bro. I'm surprised you know about that.
Dennis the Menace?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you know.
Wasn't the neighbors, the old man's named Joe or something?
I forget.
I forget the character. Something like that. Yeah. So here we are, guys. Here's the SPY. Actually gapping up and having a little bit stronger of a session than the heavy NASDAQ here, guys. So a good look here on the SPY. And with that, you have to look at one of its top holdings here, and that's XLF, putting in a nice stellar session here, Sharif. So here we are, we have bank earnings, right? And then we just gap up and then we just continue to go. Gonna go and test those all-time highs on XLF. Absolute beautiful vehicle. I think that's something that you want to own in the long-term portfolio. Now only down about 2% off those all-time highs is XLF there, guys. So really good look there. Mr. Wilson, that's it. Yes, it was Mr. Wilson. It wasn't Joe, it was Mr. Wilson. So thank you for, that's right. Yeah, that's it. So it was Mr. Wilson, George Wilson. So yeah, funny, good stuff there, guys. But here we are on XLF, and we have Netflix and UAL, as Adara just mentioned not too long ago, and FLX reporting after the bell. So that's something you want to keep your eye on. I know a lot of people are waiting for this split on Netflix, so I think it's about time. Get more hands involved, get more retail involved in this asset here, because we know what happened with that Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and now they're starting to stream live sports. So you're bringing a whole nother viewer base onto the platform now that you're streaming live sports. So this is something that I think is going to be really, really beneficial for Netflix in the coming years.
You see Jake Paul and Mike Tyson at one of the balls yesterday?
Were they?
It's like Jake Paul put Mike Tyson on his shoulders. He's like piggyback, not even piggyback. What is it called when someone goes on your shoulders? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
That's a piggyback.
And they were like, it's like he had his full, like,
okay, so like his thigh, like his hamstrings are on the shoulder blade? Okay.
So jokes. And they're like talking to each other like, oh, he's my best friend. It's like, okay, calm down.
Well, they just made a couple milli together for a fun fight, didn't really get hurt. So we'd be good friends too if we
All right, guys, we scalped in on HUSA up here all the way up into the high 70s, got stopped out I think a 3-penny loss on the last one. We're back in at 265. I'm looking to defend 254. We're going to give this one 10 pennies. If it breaks down, then I'll look to get in at VWAP, but that will kind of just be my line in the sand. I've seen way too many of these small cap gappers show up midday and then kind of retrace to the bowels from which they came. So don't want to be caught into that. So we're going to give this one tight stops on HUSA. It's a good move up, but I don't want to give back too much over here. I'm also involved in LITM. Now this one is a bit of a slower mover. It's up 21 1/3% on the day. It's a good look, but it's having a lot of trouble with 108 for whatever reason, despite the fact that we have $1.10 HOD. I've been waiting at 108. I'm waiting at 110s. I'm long 6s. This one is going to be one of those ones where you're going to have a decent size in order to make any real money because it's not giving you that much of a move. Quite frankly. So showing me 108s right now on the ask, but we all know this deal is going to have to cross for me to get filled. So packing my patience there. I'm also keeping an eye on SMR because we were talking about this one earlier and it's coming back into that high of the day. It's had trouble with 25 bucks, kind of a double top there at the IB high right at 930, 935, prints at 24.98, retraces all the way down to about 22.40, more like 22.50, and then we incrementally and steadily make our way up, kind of showing respect to the 10 exponential moving average right there. I think we're about 10 pennies off the high day. I'm talking about SMR, not really a small cap gapper, but doesn't mean we can't trade it like one. Coffee Trader says, I'm waiting for USEG at VWAP. Okay, my friend, I like the way you think, because I don't like punching in on these monsters near the high, especially when now we've got a couple of red candles set up. So VWAP on this one, my man, looks like it's around 4 low 80s, maybe 4 high 70s. You're going to likely have maybe a little zig and zag between VWAP and 5, just because 5 is awfully close. 5 being obviously that psychological area of resistance. EVO hugs. Thoughts on them, says Sharif. Thoughts on TAM. TAM? Okay, let's have... Total addressable market on what, my friend? Let's have a look. Maybe you tagged me earlier and I just missed it. Let me have a look. If you want to tag me with the entire thing, EVO hugs, I'll absolutely be willing to, obviously answer your question like I always am, but I just don't know exactly what you mean there. What else we got over here?
There we go.
It's on Tim. Nick Dub, LUNR. We'll have a look at that in a hot second. Just making sure. What are we doing over here, bro, on HUSA? Are we going to get printed at 69s? Why do we keep going up to 69s and rejecting, Mr. HUSA? So keeping an eye on this one. I'm also keeping an eye on LITM. Let's have a look at Lunar, though, for Nick Dub. Shout out to Nick Dub. He's one of the OGs in the chat.
Yeah, big OG. Always contributing, too.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah, not a bad look at all on Lunar, man. 21.5%. Put some dang respect on this one's name. I love this kind of pattern over here, guys, where we get into an obvious high, we reject, we reclaim, and break the high. Then the best part about it for me is once we break the high, we have a predictable level off which to buy it. This one looked like it weaseled down into 2/3 of a dollar. If you're looking at the closing print, it's more like the whole dollar, but this is a good look right now. LUNR has won itself a little spot there on my side chart. It's about who we take off, and right now I'm taking BOXL off. LUNR earned its way up onto the side chart. Adara, the human algo, is at the big desk.
Hey.
Thank you for that transition, Sharif. We actually have this, we're talking about TAM. I have PAM actually moving to the upside, and that is Pampia Energia. This is a name that was actually previously featured here on the upgrades and downgrades. I believe I know it's a ticker that Sharif is familiar with here as myself. Nice volume spike here on the 15-minute chart for Pampia Energia. Looks like this is actually here an Argentinian name. Potentially, we do have not a ton of volume here on the day, about 400,000 shares, but relative volume of 3.4. So keep an eye here. Decent relative volume on PAM. No catalyst that I can find, just under $5 billion market cap. So I guess Pampit is being said to Pampia Energia today. With that, back to you, Bash Brothers.
Adara has a rule usually,
what is
and there's no puns at the big desk. But when one is so good that it cannot be
you just gotta let
given
it
up, Joseph,
Yeah.
you got to pun, bro.
You just got to pun, yeah.
TEM, I think it's just the actual ticker says EV Hugs. Let's have a look at TEM. All right, we took a couple of prints, boys, here on HUSA, but guys, it is rejecting that $0.75, so I'm a little concerned about it. But TEM, let's have a look. So Tempest. Okay, Tempest, you're talking about this because your friend Nancy was buying, wasn't she? The best trader on Capitol Hill, bar none. She is undefeated. There is nobody better than Nancy Dang Pelosi. She knows when to buy, when to sell.
How's she so good,
and
man?
she's not doing anything wrong, and to think otherwise is incorrect on your part.
Yeah, how's she so good? Like, I don't know. Have you ever heard of Nancy Pelosi losing? Ever.
I love being controversial. Bro.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Good
she
times.
bought, like, I'm pretty sure didn't she have NVIDIA calls at, like, the most immaculate strike price there was?
Best.
No, need the best. Like, 99, the second it touched 99, Pelosi's in on some NVDA calls, and then sure enough, here she is. But guys, we have the cues starting.
Can I just look at TM?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, no
so
problem.
let's throw this on there, guys. Okay, so obviously it's a great look on the day. There's no question about that. Very respectful of the 10 exponential. It has a bit of a double bottom off 48. It breaches the 10. It holds a 20. It's having trouble with 49. I like it. Just keep an eye out for that 20 exponential. If it gives way at the yellow line, I'll be looking at 46-ish because that's where VWAP is. That's my look on TM intraday. Let's look at the daily though, okay? So it's a bit of a zig and zag ever since this thing IPO'd back in June. I'll get it right. June 14th of last year. This was looks like an area low. This 32.5. There was a lot of interactions with 32.5 subsequent to the IPO, and then again in mid-December, 32-ish. You can see this general area over here defended. Now we have resistance on your friend Tempest over here at 57 to 57.5, which owes to this area. I want to call it this middle area over here between the double top. We couldn't really break through there decisively. We did break it though, obviously, in early mid-November, but then dropped again. So look, this one doesn't have a discernible trend, but your sample size is awfully small too. I mean, we haven't even had a year of trading on this. So to me, what I see 32, an area support with resistance at around 57 to 57.5. That's your first area resistance, and then you're looking at 65 as your next one. I don't have a thought on it from a fundamentals perspective. I haven't researched it. I don't know enough about it or anything like that. So I'm going to forego giving any fundamental opinion about it. But technically, it is caught within a range. Keep your eye out on that range. Here we go with HUSA. I'm waiting at 82s, and there it is, Joseph. We took that out, so we're going to pack our patience now for the next little out. I've got a couple of outs on this bad boy over here. So let's go and hang out at 88s, and then we're going to wait in front of 3 for a bit of a beak wetter there. If it comes up to the levels, if it comes up into those levels, I want to have a beak wetter ready to take the print. 88s now, bang. We take out 88s. I'm waiting now in front of 3s. Now, bang. There it is again on HUSA. All right, so we'll take out that. But I don't want to let this one off the hook like I did with USEG. Keep your eye on this one. It's squeezing 78% in an area of psychological resistance. 3, there goes 3, Joseph. 308 now, the high of the day. 83%. This one is squeezing. Keep your eye out on this bad boy here, HUSA.
Wow.
It is going. Yeah, bro. It is going. I took a couple of prints here on LITM. I don't have any more out. It behooves me to set some more up over here. So we're going to wait at 12s, and then we're going to put it every couple of pennies here. All right, back to HUSA. I want to keep my eye on this one because this one could give you an opportunity, possibly, if it gets away enough from 3 and then comes back into that 3 to defend that psychological support. HUSA, Joseph, up big.
Hey, good luck there, man. You're putting up a stellar session already thus far.
Brutal, bro.
What do you mean? It's good, man.
You want to hear the truth?
Yeah.
I'm down 5 figures in the long term today.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so you got to deal with that psychologically, and then come and
here
trade.
and then try to perform.
Yeah, that's
the way it goes, unfortunately. But hey, man, if you're down, that means I'm probably down too. So with Tesla's getting slacked, everybody knows my holdings. Google's, other than Google and I guess IBIT kind of creeping in on those all-time highs, all other 3 of my positions are not doing too good. Tesla was trading around $434 when I opened my eyes this morning. Now trading at $413. Apple was still 10% down off the all-time highs, now trading even lower. So it's just like, the head scratchers. But that's okay, guys. We will recover buying opportunities, especially if you're positioned well. But the SPY is trading extremely well. Amazon, someone in the chat, Vichy mentioned Amazon. I didn't even look at Amazon today. Thing is trading amazing. This far, M-A-M-Z-N, and there's not much I can say about it, even though we're up 2% on the day. But again, trading significantly better than the rest of the market is Amazon. NVDA slightly broke out. I see Neil mention that as well too. And then the Qs followed that, but SPY slightly stronger, guys. So looking for that strength. I'm not going to be looking for longs in Teslas, any more longs in Tesla today. I took my stabs at it. They didn't work. The sentiment is not there. It is extremely weak, especially after that opening drive. Let's take a look at Tesla's 5-minute opening drive. And when you see this, it's so hard to recover off of these weak drives. Like, the volume is there, and it's just as pretty much the most genuine bearish candle you can print there. Little to no wicks and a full closed bar there on Tesla. So really good if you're playing the 5-minute orb to the downside, but just to completely reverse those types of signals are extremely difficult. We did sit on top of this range from a daily perspective, and that's when I had in my game plan, okay, if we break higher, then maybe we can look for the R4 breakup, but that wasn't the case. We had we sat under R4, and then we broke down. I can show you guys my morning notes real quick, considering we are going to go over constructing a playbook here, guys. So here it is on Tesla sitting under R4, okay? So these are Tuesday Jam when I write my notes. Sitting under R4, be aware of potential breakdown, okay? So this is like how Sean does his sticky notes. I do though. I write my Notion in the morning as well too, guys. So there it is, being well prepared for the Tesla, but still looking for that bounce. And I don't know if it's going to come today. We are sitting in breakdown territory, and it was kind of buy the rumor, sell the news type events. Elon doing a bunch of fist pumping yesterday that people were talking about. So here we are now, selling over probably about 3% on the session, looking really weak for Tesla. But let's see what Adara is up to.
We're going to take a look here at these markets. S&P 500 up about 0.6% here, so definitely looking better than our last happening now back around 10 a.m. And the NASDAQ, well, actually running into a little bit of resistance here, that previous support, actually still up about 1/3%, but it's very clear on both the percentage level and a technical basis. S&P 500 is the star of the show here compared to that NQ. It's also worth noting these energy names are on watch. INDO, Indonesian Energy, or is there a repeat offender or small cap in this space? That just got to pop to the upside, up about 18%. So keep an eye on INDO. Lots to look at today. The inauguration, of course, on watch yesterday, giving moves in a lot of these different spaces, including these charging and EV names, as well as names like Tesla, of course, on watch in that frame as well. Apple sharply to the downside here as well on a couple downgrades, including one from Jefferies. Nike really strong right now. We just got a little bit of a volume spike in this name. Adidas reporting stronger than expected preliminary, so again, not full, but preliminary Q4 revenue and stronger than expected gross margins for the quarter as well. So NKE to the upside. Also keep an eye on some of these payment related names, including Affirm and Block, which is now trading as of today under XYZ. We did have Stripe here reportedly firing roughly 300 employees, or 3.5% of its global workforce. So keep an eye on these payment names. Also keep an eye here on names like PanW. Palo Alto Networks was one of the many tickers. Nancy Pelosi now getting involved into the upside. We are brought to you as well here by Prop Firm Match. Are you a skilled trader that's lacking capital? Prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, offering you the chance to showcase your skills, access account sizes ranging from 5K to 500K. And you can start with as little as $20, but with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match comes in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most essential firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in one place. You just have to scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and find the perfect prop firm for you. And with that, we are pleased as punch to send you over to Neil and his always exciting lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Thank you very much, Adara. Got a lesson of the day for you. it's not always going to be exciting. Hopefully it's got to be informative. That's the idea over here. And we always talk about, like, you know, what's your trading setup? What's your trading plan? Did you follow your plan? Did you execute well? But sometimes you've got to just be able to understand the style of trade that you're making, right? I'm going to talk about the breakout and the false break here, because obviously you're going to look at a few things that broke the highs and did nasty reversals, but I wanted to show you Friday specifically for just an idea of what a good breakout looks like. You know, this is the stock. I'll show you a couple. Like, this is 3 sessions ago, we had this big breakout on MSTR that happened in the pre. And then if you go into Friday, you get a pre-market high, hold a higher low, and then a very, very clean break. That sets the stage. Like 385, first candle's like $4, $5. So you've got to consider in a situation like this, when you're taking a breakout trade, when it instantly goes in the money like that, and it's a scalp trade where you can get $3, $4, $5 on it, risking into this low is going to be $2.50 to $3 worth of risk. It's a very definable trade. Where that can run into trouble is remembering it's a very popular thing to look at a stock that is gapped up, consolidating higher, and simply take a technical breakout through the high of the day or the pre-market high. When that happens, if it reverses, those are very nasty moves. I'm going to show you a couple of what they look like, and they require you to just simply be in and be out. Because if you go the route of, oh, I'm buying the dip on this stock after a failed break, you can run yourself into a lot of trouble. Now, in this particular case, MSTR, you might have got away from it because it had overhead resistance here. But let's just say you take this break. If you hold past the prior low, there's essentially no bid on the stock after that. And that's where you can get yourself absolutely burnt. And you've got to remember, you're measuring if it works against what happens when it doesn't work, against what happens when it does. That's a hold the line all day off of this level, and eventually getting yourself up like $12, $13 that you can hold a piece on. Just a very clean move. So you understand that if it does work, you've got the upside, that you can get that big winner, but not when you're going to bleed to the downside. And this is a reason why, like, you saw me take this, and I'm not just making this stuff up, right? Like, I was in coin for the break. I am not holding coin when it fails the prior high. No chance whatsoever, because where's your out if you don't get out there? That's where you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt, and it's just constant punishment. If you ever just sit there when you got a high of the day break, certainly they can look good. Like in coin, I already know what I can get out of this. It's a 292 on Friday. That eventually just trends up $7 without actually breaking back underneath. So I know what it can do with that $7 move. Your initial scalp's about a $3 move. So you should be willing to risk a couple of bucks here. You know, like, that's perfectly reasonable. But you're not gonna turn this into some kind of a, I just think the stock is a long. You know, there's a very big difference between having a bias to the long side because, say, a stock is in an upward trend. And I'm just going to use the first thing that comes to my mind here. And obviously, you know, let's talk about maybe like a SoFi, right? So you have something which is trending on the daily the last few days. That is a trend to the upside, where maybe you're looking for buy the dip situations or VWAP holds. It's something where you're getting on the bid as it falls back in. And as long as it continues its trend, you're going to be all over it. It doesn't go red on the day. Those are the types of things that you can go for if a stock is trending up. A high of the day break is binary. Like, a breakout trade like this is not the same as just buying, you know, buying SoFi on the upward trend. It's gotten to a top. $300 is the top. And buying dips into that is much, much different than catching the trend as it's getting into that high. And you've got to be able to make that distinction. A long idea isn't a I'm buying the stock until I'm shut down, or I'm just going to continue buying until it eventually works out for me. It should be a specific trade. A breakout trade is a breakout trade. And if it doesn't work, then you've got to be able to get the you-know-what out of Dodge. And there were a lot of them today in terms of, you could take there was lots of failed breakouts. Like, I could show you, I mean, like NVIDIA gave a little bit of one as well. Intel gave a failed break as well. but you've got to understand the difference between a stock that is trending up, where you're biased to the long side and you're looking to buy dips and you're looking to take continuation type plays, or it is a flat out, it is at a high, I am taking a break, it has to work right away. And if it doesn't work right away, you get out of Dodge, because it's not a, I think it's long today. It's a, this is a breakout at this price level. Those things are pure scalp plays that work, and maybe you can hold on to them, but they are not buy the dip or hold on as they start bleeding back into the downside. I think obviously on a day like today, it's important to make that distinction, and you should every single day, but there are some extreme examples of what could happen if you like a breakout trade and then are not disciplined enough to just be able to get out. You're going to be able to live to fight another day, and remember, for every one of these, you get a clean break here that works, you get a clean break there that works, and the idea being you only have to win, if you have good risk to reward, you only have to win 50% of them. You don't have to have an 80-90% win rate. So lesson of the day, the failed breakout is something you've got to stay away from automatically buying the dip on. Breakout trades are their own specific trade execution and setup, and oftentimes when they don't work, if you don't have a plan to get out or a rule to get out and not get back in, you're going to find yourself ruined on a single play, which is never what you want. There's nothing wrong with losing on a trade, so long as you stick to your risk plan, and then measure how much that trade pays you versus how much when it loses. Always compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So false breakouts, dangerous trades, but it doesn't mean you stop taking the break.
Thank you very much, Neil. You know what I'm going to say. Around these parts, we call that Neilage. Neil's lesson of the day every day around noon. Thank you very much for that eloquent, informative, and all-around awesome, as always, Joseph.
Yeah, mucho
He
gracias.
is the knowledge dropper.
The knowledge dropper.
Yeah. And especially knowledgey is he when he puts on those amber orange glasses. It's like they give him special powers. He's out of the trading mode now.
Bump it up a couple
and now
IQ.
he's in the teaching mode.
A couple IQ points gained.
Couple of IQ points.
gained
Okay.
from putting on those glasses. We'll see. I try to mimic what Neil's been up to over there, but I don't know. Maybe not working as well. He is the real deal. And he's got I was going to drop in on the boys at King Taps there, but I was like, no.
I saw the Katina man post.
They're over there. They got good pizza there. I don't know if you've ever went there and had pizza.
I haven't, no.
But wow, okay, wow. Oh, wow. Okay,
Someone's
hold on top.
cash.
I wasn't here. Did we get the wings last week or?
We didn't get any wings
No.
yet, but the money has been earmarked. The Katina man's going to get them. You want to take care of it?
Yeah, we'll take it, man.
No. You called it first, baby.
$30. Morning all. More for the wings and beer fun. Today, play on SPY, bearish below 600 to 596, but stopped out 3 times. I stopped, reassessed like you all said, switched the bias to bull, ended up positive. Much love, beer and wings. That is the Canadian combination right there. We love that one. There's no questioning that, especially with a good hockey game or some sports on in the background. DJ Marshall, this guy's dropped about $60 on beer and wings. So now we're gonna get those 2 LBS at least each there, my guy. So that's what we need, and I'm probably gonna go Garpar.
What's going on over there, Katina man?
Diamonds.
The Katina man is long IBIT as Joseph is right now. What's the entrance, Katina man? 58.47. He's going to wait for that 60 break and take if it hasn't already, Joseph. I haven't been looking at IBIT right now. Shout out to the Katina man. He added onto the laps today despite the fact that he wasn't feeling the best. He pushed through and we're going to shut him out. It takes a hell of a man to change, and he's doing that. Absolutely. Shout out to the Katina man. All right, here's the deal. We're looking at, I know, right? I yelled about this while Neil was dropping his lesson of the day. Your boy Rigetti, knees are heavy. Right now, I was talking about $13 flat top break. I don't have an animation for flat top break, but you can imagine it, okay? $13.10 now is the high of the day. Prior to that, it was $12.99, and we had been holding that $12.99 since 11:40. So we're going now almost on 45 minutes with that level acting as a level of resistance. And what I did like about this, and what I continue to like about Rigetti right now, is the higher low. So sure, we had resistance at 13, but when you look to see who's in control, Number one, working in your favor is you're up 33% on the day. Number two, the pattern, the chart pattern still looks awfully bullish. Even if the percentage up on the day starts retracing, look how good this pattern is. Higher low, higher low, higher low. So you kind of could have posited that $13 break and take was imminent. In fact, it is $13.11 now, HOD on RGTI. It's a great look there. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. I also want to mention a couple of new small cap gappers that have made on their way onto the scene since we spoke last. Indo. It's no stranger to us here on the How to Trade During the Midday show. 13.5% in the clear, likely up as a result of somebody, I don't know who, somebody yesterday was yelling or saying over and over and over, drill, baby, drill. Well, some of the energy names are up today. You got HUSA, you got INDO. They're more small cap gapperish than your CVX and XOM and OXY and etc. But this one giving you that $0.50 defend quite right now. So we'll keep an eye out for that $0.75 resistance on INDO. Also, I want to mention to you guys, which one was I going to mention? It was INDO and a different one over here, and I'm completely forgetting. HUSA, sorry, Dara, one sec. HUSA, this one did come into VWAP. Now we have a double bottom at VWAP. So we had a good trade on HUSA before, 275. This one got all the way to 320. So in addition to there being VWAP at the $0.75 area, look at this 2-candle holdup. Initially at that 275. Lo and behold, you come into a previous area in resistance, and then all of a sudden there's buying. This is what we call resistance flipping to support. Now that's the good side of the matter. What's the bad side of the HUSA trade? We have incrementally lower highs, and we've had that situation, lower high, lower high, lower high, since 12 o'clock. So we're going on the part of around 15 minutes here. Adara, bringing to my attention another energy-related small cap gapper going by the ticker NINE. Let's have a look at that one. Allow me to load it up. So we're going to have a look at the daily first and foremost. So we can already see this one is a former runner. It has outsized move days. Just take a case in point, New Year's Eve, we were 97 pennies. We got all the way up into $1.97. That's a 102% move. So this one has a history of running. And that it's important because we need to be able to see it squeeze in the past. Now, what's the look on the 5-minute? This looks like program buying to me. Okay, this is very directional with very few troughs and mostly higher lows and higher highs. Good look right now on NINE. It's going to have to earn its way onto the side chart because the side charts today are packed. Joseph, all of them right now, they're being packed, occupied.
There's a lot going on today, man.
There is, man. There is. So NINE, Joseph, 175 HOD, up 38%. And let me just give you the deets on NINE super quick over here so we can fly with all the information that we need. Float, 19.14 million shares, and the short float on this one, 8.17. So good all around, smaller float. A bit of a higher short float, obviously not the biggest we've ever seen, but one that we can definitely use. So NINE, HUSA, INDO, all energy related and all running up big on the day, Joseph.
Beautiful stuff there. Yeah, guys, I just went and checked my X real quick. I seen all the DMs, guys, so don't worry, I haven't forgot about you. I will send you guys that cheat sheet and maybe a little more there as well. So thanks to you guys for that DM. I'm getting a lot of message requests there. So yeah, I'll be sure to be in contact with you guys. Maybe not right this second, obviously. We got other things to talk about, but once we're done here, then I'll be sure to be in contact with those who have. And Havana Woody, I have seen your DM. He messaged me a lot on X there. Havana, yeah. Sorry, shout out to me. Yeah, he's a solid person. So shout out to Havana, guys. Here we are in some IBIT, continuing to hold on to this position. I do think that we can go and test this high a day, which would put us around that 106,000, 107,000 on spot itself. So gonna hold on. I am extremely bullish. We are running into some key resistance zones on crypto, on Bitcoin itself. So if we break through that with momentum, then I'm sure enough that we can go into new price discovery and then head into those teens, those mid-teens, maybe even 20, because I know 180, 200,000, multiple analysts have the price target on this thing there, guys. So that is that on IBIT. So here we are. Another ad at the break here because we did take some hits on TQs here, guys, which was unfortunate because we sold at the bottom. And then sure enough, we get that rip up here all the way up to 83.90. So just hold, selling at the bottom. That liquidity grab was all probably me. And then here we go, heading higher. So that's one we missed out on, guys. And then as well as TSLA. Dude took some hits on there. So a little bit tougher of a go, as I mentioned before. But one thing that we are going to do is hold on to these winners. If you believe in the thesis and you think that it's going to work out, continue to hold on to those positions until otherwise, all right? So just keep that in mind. Let's see if we can go and test these highs of days on IBIT, guys. And yeah, continue higher in this market. The SPY significantly stronger than what the Qs are trading at. We're way above the volume weighted average price, being led by XLF and company. So good look there. Let's pull up XLF real quick for you guys and see what we got going on the financial front. As I mentioned before, banks really strong. We had some more reporting this morning as well too. But now pulling back, we put in this double top here. Now that we look at it, so now pulling the SPY back along with it. If we break these key support levels around 50-51, then maybe look for some more downside in XLF. Not the best intraday trading vehicle, but something that you want to be holding on to for the long term. If you ask me, that we don't scam. If you want to a ticker, just put it in there. If we see it, then you don't need to scam the chat there, guys. But yeah, let's take a look at Netflix, even though we already did. But just one more time to take a gander and see what we got going on for some price action. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing started rolling here, Sharif, coming into the earnings report this afternoon, right after the market closed, I believe right at 4 o'clock. Let me double check my numbers, my time, I should say. Yeah, so right at 4 o'clock, we're going to get that Netflix report. I think it's going to be a banger of a report, and that forward guidance is something that we need to keep an eye out on. As I mentioned, live sports, this can be really big for this. Sean mentioned the WWE when we were talking about it, when we had that special day here. I believe it was the Jimmy Carter day here when we were all talking about Netflix, which led to a great debate on this underlying here. So yeah, I think we're bullish on this stock for the foreseeable future. They don't have to release their subs anymore, right?
Well, they don't want to.
Okay, but okay, I thought they didn't. I thought they legit didn't, like, legally didn't have to release their how many subs
they
and
gave
new
it
subs.
to you just to
did
give you guidance.
Did they? Okay, just to give you guidance. So yeah. So with that. And I think that's the narrative for these earnings reports. You really want to emphasize the guidance and what the full year outlooks are going to be on some of these companies. And that can just determine some strength. We've seen some strength in the airlines and in the banks as well too. So keep an eye out on that forward look, that outlook on guidance here, guys.
Yes, sir. Just throwing in a stop over here as we just got into TPET breaking through that $3 area to the south side. So I want to see if 3 wants to hold. We're going to look to scalp here on TPET. What is going on over there, Katina man? The Katina man is still in IBIT and he's watching it go up. So crypto is in focus right now. So keep your eye on that. Your boy Joe is in there as well. The Katina man is also involved in that. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on crypto. I mean, I wasn't buying any Trump coin. I promise you that. I wasn't buying any Melania coin either. And I have strong feelings about doing that kind of thing ahead of the inauguration. I'm not a fan of it. I got to tell you the truth. I want crypto to have longevity. I'm talking about all forms of crypto. I want longevity, and longevity is going to be hard to come by if we're rug pulling and we're memeing all this stuff. And so I don't know. I mean, some people were, they're kind of tongue-in-cheeking it, calling it a glorified HUSA coin. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think it has more value. You said that, right?
I said that was you? Right.
Yes,
I literally said that.
Know,
yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily, I didn't say I wouldn't necessarily call it HUSA coin.
Well, I did.
But I'm like, hey, it's a rug pull, right? You're like kind of like the same thing, right? No, me neither.
Whatsoever. I'm not a fan of it at all. So, yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about that. So we're involved right now in TPET as well as LITM. LITM is doing real well. TPET is breaking 3, anything below 290. This will be my first L of the day. If we take that 290 print to the downside, I'm looking for 3 to hold on. I had to give it a bit of room because we know how these whole dollar levels work, and they are often very volatile in front and or on top of and below the psychological resistance area. I still like it. I see higher lows. It's up 70 some odd percent. Just hope I didn't get it in at highs. TPET, I'm still waiting for this 16 print. We've been knocking the door of 16s for a hot minute. We've got you know, 1, 2, 3, 5 out so far on this one, and we've layered our orders every 2 pennies, 16s and 18s next here on TPET. Look at this one, HUSA finding support. Lo and behold, at that entry that we initially got into, 275 on HUSA, and I don't know why I have a dip trade sitting at 240s. Got to clean up your trade, Sharif. So what I see here is good defending at 275. I see a double bottom on the 1, and I also see former price action resistance at 275 on HUSA. And lo and behold, we get all the way up into that 3 1/5. We come back down, and we hold that 275. So resistance flips to support, or at least it does for the moment, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Back to TPET. We're still zigging and zagging here with 3. I've got 1 out on this one at, I believe, 9s. I'm waiting, or 8s, excuse me. So I'm waiting at 10 and then 14 for that one. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. Conrad Clark, did Trump sell his holdings? I don't know. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if he sold. I have no idea what happened there. I just know that a lot of people were involved in it. It was very volatile, as meme coins typically are. I don't like the timing of the release of the meme coin. Okay, I mean, it was a day or 2 before his inauguration day. I think, you know, it just stinks. And I have no problem with the Orange Man. You guys know that. I don't like that move, though. I did not like that. I personally would have liked to see it either way before or well after, not the day before or the 2 days before. That's not the look that I'm going for. We want crypto to be a respected industry. We want big money to be in Bitcoin, and I don't know. This gives it the aura of illegitimacy, and I don't like it. I want to hear what you have to say, because you're obviously more in crypto than I am.
Yeah, but to add on to that point is what Gary Gensler was saying, okay? We all know we don't like Gary, but then he had a valid point. He's like, okay, there's fundamentals behind Bitcoin, right? But then what about the other 1,000 meme coins that he was referring to? And then he's like, yeah, there's nothing really fundamentally behind that. And that's the same case here in Trump and Milena coin. It's like, what was that? It was just like a pump and dump scheme at the end of the day. Can it be legit? I mean, the dude's in office for 4 years. Can it recover? Absolutely. But that's not, to add to Shrieve's point, that's not something that you want to see. And I know everybody doesn't like Gary Gensler, but he had some valid points on some of these meme coins, right? Because now we're starting to see it more. You'll see it more within the social media news with the HUSA coin, and then now we got the Trump coins and a bunch of other different style of these meme coins. There's no real specific use case other than to pump and dump, speculate, and then try to catch the top on some of these underlyings here. So yeah, that's my
well said, Joseph.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally forgot about what Gary said. Maybe it was like my subconscious trying to filter everything he ever said out. But let's see what the chat's up to here. I'd love to hear some of the comments coming in from the chat about what you and I are talking about right now. Let's see what people are saying here. Crypto banks. I bought Trump coin at 24, sold at 75, made 12K. Bought it back again at 32 for a swing to $100 price target. Shout out to you, crypto banks. I hope you print up a storm, clearly. I definitely want you to succeed. Kahlua, the timing is really bad. It should never, ever happen. Kahlua, it's worse than FTX, he goes on to say. And how about not at all, he goes on to say, or they go on to say. Let's see what people are talking about. Rug pull, says the incredible Mr. Lib. Conrad Clark, I think he had to release it prior to becoming president. I see your point. Yeah, your point's well taken. I just think the timing still is a little bit. Ernesto agrees with us. Vin, Trump just trying to pay back him. It was the night of the crypto ball, says Jimmy Donnelly. TX Trader, I agree with Sharif and I like Trump. He goes on to say, agree with you there. Hoopla and basketball, he's laughing. Bebot 5000 agrees. Appreciate you, Bebot. Pump and dump, says Rob Winter. Kahlua goes on to say 80% is owned by them. Like, what the hell? Yeah, that's a lot. Though.
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier as well, too. So 80% is still being held by Trump's party. So that's alarming. You don't necessarily want to be in an underlying asset, whatever it may be, when the majority is held by the institution. That's alarming. I wouldn't want to participate in that. But yeah, guys.
Are you saying it's a Trump and dump?
A Trump and dump. Oh, man. All right, end the show. It's done. The show's over. That's it. It's over now. Yeah, that was a good one. A good Trump and dump. But yeah, guys, just write in the chat there if you agree with what he did. Yes or no. It's either a yes or no. Throw it in the chat. Do you agree with Donald Trump releasing Milena and Trump coin a couple days before his inauguration? Just a yes or no, and let's see what everybody has to think about that in the chat. But guys, here we go with the overall market continuing to trade higher here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
The Q's pushing higher and higher, now recovering a lot of those losses here in the session. Ozan, are you still in IBIT there? Let's go. So he's cooking up the cash cow himself. A lot of people, the majority are no's here, Sharif. As people start chiming in, that participation, no. Some people, the odd yes here, which, I mean, if you somehow got in when it ICO'd at like $2 or whatever it may be, then congratulations to you. You hit that huge return. But if you're like, I mentioned this, and I'm gonna call him out because Neil called out some of the Bills fans here. I'm gonna call out one of my buddies. Yeah, I'm gonna call out one of my buddies who's like, yeah, I bought it at $63, and then I'm just like, oh my god, like yeah, we had to talk about it.
Your friend Portnoy?
No, he's not. Oh yeah, he made $1 million off of it. There you go.
Went to sleep.
Yeah.
Bought 500,000.
Yeah.
Went to sleep. Woke up for whatever. I wake up at 5 a.m. So I can't get on for that. Sold it, quick milli. Then he bought Melania, lost about 250K on Melania.
He's the ultimate gambler, though. He's in everything. I love it when he goes to the horse races, and him and his boys are betting horse racing. It's hilarious. Davey Day Trader. You guys, he's a character. But I mean, here we are, guys, starting to run into these pre-market highs here. I do think that this market can slowly start to recover. Tesla was down 5% at its lows. Now starting to push through the volume-weighted average price, kind of lagging some of its peers here. NVDA trading above the volume-weighted average price. Netflix, Amazon, and Google as well, too, all trading above the volume-weighted average price, with the exception of Tesla. So a little bit weak here. Let's see if this 5-minute candle can close above, and then maybe that trend can start to reverse. And then if that's the case, then I think this market can continue to climb higher.
Yeah, shout out to Adam. Need that sleep and wake up to a milli life. Wouldn't that be nice, Adam? That'd be nice. Top VOIP, Sharif, and Joe. The problem with all these poop coins is that it's stripping liquidity from BTC, ETH, and all the real coins. Good point, my friend.
Good point.
While people should be focusing on the real. Well, again, I hesitate to say what people should be focusing on. They're obviously entitled to focus on whatever they want to focus on. But I completely get your point. We'll have to see how this all ends up working out. I don't know, man. I don't anticipate the incoming administration being too regulatory heavy on crypto. Do you get that sense that they're going to be, blocking
like
these meme
crackdown?
coins?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Well, it's hard to say that they would be against it when Donald just dropped his own a couple of days ago, right?
Exactly.
So if he's gonna,
that's why I feel
so
that.
he's like, okay, all these people are doing this practice. Why don't I get involved here? And so there you go. You have his net worth skyrocketing, which is insane. But it's a tough look.
Yeah,
you don't agree on it. I don't agree on it. So
no, I don't.
It is what it is. If you're on the right side of the trade, by all means, congratulations to you. But again, it's hard unless you're in that world of crypto, because you're not going to find it on your average exchange as soon as it ICOs like on Coinbase or CoinSquare for Canadians. You have to really get into what my buddy Wayne would call the trenches of crypto and find where you can get involved in this thing. I'm sure he was at some point. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about it with him a little later. Yeah.
Oh, Paulo, I have to kind of filter the words. We don't want to upset the Google algorithm, so we're going to use some PG word. That's okay. All right, guys, we're waiting here at 16s on LITM. Where am I long? We're long 6s. We've wet our beak several times. I'm waiting at 16s, and then I'm waiting at 18s. This has been I don't want to say a consistent name, but it has been putting in those higher lows and higher highs consistently. It's been very respectful as well of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. So I'm looking to wet the beak there at 16s come what may. Now, there's some good ones coming into some areas of technical support, or what I perceive to be areas of technical support. Your friend USEG, that's the one that we started off the day with. It's been hugging VWAP now for a period of 15 minutes. Straddling VWAP from the south side, as the low area. So initially here we got 1220, then 1225, then 1230, each of which has a lower high, but bouncing off VWAP. And by extension of that as well, it's not just VWAP, it is the $5 area. So you do have an area of support there from a psychological perspective rather than just the technicals. 640 HOD, there goes 5, there goes VWAP, not on a closing basis. We'll have to wait and see if this one wants to catch a bit of a bid. Same look here for USEG as we're getting for HUSA. So both names we were involved in, both names now breaking down below the volume weighted average price. I perceive to be some level of support here on HUSA at around 255 to 260, owing to the candles on the 5-minute chart from 1140 to that big boy candle that took us into the high of the day at 1155. The low end of the range there was about 1255, 1260. However, this is now broken down below the volume weighted average price, and as a result, it's not tradable under my system until it weasels back above that 2 3/4 area where VWAP is. So we're going to keep HUSA up on the side chart for a possible entry into this one, but it's got to get its footing under it. Rigetti. I yelled over to the Katina man. I told Daryl while Neil was dropping his lesson of the day, this flat top break at 13 was the real dang deal, and we didn't have it. $13 was ranging there for a while. It was $12.99 technically, and then at 12.10, we got the volume and the break of that $12.99 area, and now we're looking at $13.50 as the high of the day, coming into about $13.40 now. The 10 exponential moving average on the 5, in case you want to pick it up on a pullback, is around currently $13.20. Could be $13.25 by the time it weasels down there. So that is the look right now. As I see it, though, what the hell is LITM doing? Multiple topping tail candles right now on LITM into that $1.16. So we had multiple touches at 16, none of which printed me. Now back into 15s. Now I'm not gonna start singing this one's obituary too soon because we still have the higher low situation. Even though we've got definite resistance over here with a fair degree of wattage at about 116, I still feel that this one has a good shot at taking it out just based upon the higher lows. You're not getting that aggressive selling with volume quite yet. Maybe that comes in, but it hasn't come in quite yet. I'm talking about LITM up 28%. I'm looking at the side chart over here to see which ones are setting up best. So all three of the names, the oil-related names, USEG, HUSA, INDO, all breaking down now below the volume-weighted average price. And in HUSA and Indo's case, it was on a closing basis. Currently on USEG, it's an intra-candle break of the volume-weighted average price. So we'll have to wait and see. Can this one work above 5, above VWAP on a closing basis? Doesn't look like that quite yet. So all the strength that I was observing in these small cap gappers is starting to fade a little bit here. So we're going to keep an eye out on these ones. Rigetti does look like it is holding up a lot better than some of these other names. We know Rigetti not strictly a small cap gapper, obviously, owing to its recent run-up and the run-up with Quantum. This company now a $3.25 billion market cap with a healthy amount of shares traded today. Wow, 158 million shares traded on the day. Okay, yeah, not bad. Okay, guys, I'm looking here at LITM, sorry. There it goes. So I was just about to say this one is looking like it was about to give up the ghost, and there it drops into that 111. So sadly, didn't get to print out 116. Kind of upset about that. Definitely wanted that so I could have less outage over here. But this coming into the 10 exponential moving average, we'll see if this one breaks the 20. So I'm in at 106. There's 2 moving averages between the current price action and my entry. If we give way At the 20, I'm going to end this. So I'm going to move up my stop from break even into that 108 area to give it a bit of room. And then here's the deal. If it wants to break the 20 on a closing basis, I'm going to set up at 102, 103, because that's where the volume weighted average price is. I'd like to be able to take a dip trade off there if it allows me to, or if it's the right trade. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye out here. LITM in this one. Disappointed I didn't get the 16 print, but coming back down now, Joseph is into 11. It looks like it's destined for 10s soon here on LITM.
Yeah, good look there, guys. Here we are on the Tesla position. You can see here, I told you guys we would get that fixed for you guys, so the board is now up. We're going to start piecing some of this out here on Tesla, guys. As we continue to break some key resistance levels, that 416 level was key for my price level. If we broke through that resistance from an intraday standpoint, then maybe we can slowly start to recover on the day, down about 2.32%, on the session with a low of around 5%. So nice recovery, cutting that loss in half thus far. So here we go, starting to climb higher is the overall market's cues, pulling back slightly right now, but NVDA, Tesla, and IBIT slowly crawling higher. That's what we want to see. We want to see the strength within the market. Nice liquidity grabs throughout the session. And then now let's see if we can recover. Are we going to go to these pre-market highs or the pre-market lows, on Tesla? We're going to need a pretty big move, but this accumulation phase can support that, and we can head that way. So as we slowly start to climb higher, we're going to piece some more out here just to lock in some, because we did have a rough start to the session. So here we go, guys. Still buzzing thus far, a pretty good one. Someone in the chat asked us, Pathik, he asked me to look at Serve for him. Of course, anything for you. Again, kind of just tracking the overall market, mimicking what the Qs were doing. Now recovering, trading above the volume weighted average price, sitting around that $18.71 price target. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily perspective. Okay, well, that's great. We'll try this one more time, SERV, and then we'll pull this up. And then we're going to take a look at the VIX as well, too, guys, once I get everything in order. So here we are, Serve. Pull up the daily if this doesn't work. Okay, yeah, so it's not going to work on that. Can I pull it up here? SERV, Okay, so here we go, perfect. There we go. Nice look from the daily perspective, Pathik. So again, consolidation phase, big gap up here with kind of this craze that we had going on. Price action dwindles, volatility now stepping back in, kind of forming the stair-step ziggy pattern on the daily, if that's even a real pattern, but we'll call it an ABCD for now. But yeah, trading really nice, still a couple percentage points off those all-time highs. I would definitely look to hold on to this position if that's what you're curious about, Pathik, because you see this volatility in the volume step in, so supporting the move, that's something you want to keep an eye on. That's a hold for sure in my books if you are in that for a position. So there you go, good luck there. And then, yeah, I wanted to take a look at the VIX as well too, guys, before we send it back to my guy and see what we got going on. I bet you, and I want to show the inverse correlation here between the market. Here we have, here we go, here's the VIX. As we sold off, it kind of did spike, but again, there must have been something along the lines where it's like, okay, the volatility wasn't really stepping in. We're not down a crazy amount on the overall market. So here we are, as the market continues to climb slightly higher, the VIX is headed lower. So that's some of the inverse correlation that you want to keep an eye on with the volatility index, or the fear index, as a lot of people like to refer to. But here we go, piecing some more out of Tesla, guys. Let me pull up my Tesla here for you real quick. And I'm going to hold on to this IBIT. I really want to go and test that high a day. So, oops, that's not what I want. TSLA, There we go. So yeah, here we go on Tesla, slowly piecing some out here, Sharif. I think that we can go and break these key resistance level and then maybe go and test 420 on the session.
I like it, my man. I like it. Okay, nice. So here's the deal. LITM is now breaking. Sorry, here's the deal. LITM is now breaking down below the 10, and I am concerned because this one had multiple topping tails into 116. 116 was not an area that I earmarked as resistance. The fact of the matter is, though, the topping tails are indicative that they are operative over here with respect to the level. So if this one closes below the 10, I'm going to be on the lookout here for a trailing stop below the the 20 exponential moving average, which currently at around 109 on my chart. So it's going to have to hold above 108. Otherwise, I want zero smoke on this one. It feels like it's rounded topping over here with definite resistance at that 116. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. Now I weaseled in to Rigetti. And where are we long? We're long at 32s. Here comes 40s. I've been waiting at 40s. So there it is. Okay, so now we're with joining the Katina man over here. He's got a lot better price. But oh, there it is again. We just got another print into the $0.50. Okay, so Rigetti looking good over here. So we're going to put now an out in front of that 50 penny area. 50 pennies obviously acts as psychological level of resistance. Now, I'm disappointed with myself in how I executed. I should have been in at 13 when it broke, because that is a level that I earmarked. I wasn't in at 13, so we're trying to do what we can from the opportunities it's giving us right now. 36, almost 37% here, Katina man. This thing wants to take out the $0.50, and I don't know how you feel about this. It's showing 47s now on the ask. I'm waiting at 49s. There is a big boy seller here. Iceberg order. That's a hidden seller, guys, for anybody who's new to trading. Look how long we've been waiting at 47s, and look at the chop and churn. Look at the tape to the left side of the screen. Look how much size is going through there. We're not able to move through 47. So there's definitely a hidden seller there, and that's something you need to learn with trading, how to identify these hidden orders, what we call on the floor here iceberg orders. Icebergs obviously show the minority of their mass above the water, and then hide the majority of their mass below the water, hence why we use that analogy over here. So iceberg orders, Joseph, right now going unfilled at that 49 penny area. Let's see what LITM is doing. Okay, it's back into 14s. It kind of held the 10 exponential. It did hold it on a closing basis. Let's see if it's able to take out 16s. I'm not going to give this much room at all below 108. It's going to have to hold up here. Otherwise, we want no smoke. What are you looking at, my boy?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Tesla. Here we go, guys. Now we're sitting on top of the volume weighted average price. Going for that 420, I think that's going to be the next psychological number there. So a good look there. I said I wasn't going to trade this thing anymore, but I'm like, it's looking too sweet. The overall market was continuing to trade higher. Tesla formed this consolidation phase, now broke through it with momentum. Now that volume is starting to step in on the lower time frame, guys. So really good look here on Tesla, and we're going to continue to piece them out here as we climb higher on TSLA, Elon and company, we got to come up with a new the Elon dance, because he was doing a whole range of that stuff during the inauguration, guys. So here we are on that. Let's take a look at IBIT as well, too, as we slowly start to creep in on the highs of days. Sorry, got a lot going on this morning, Sharif.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, exactly. So here we go. IBIT, guys, now starting to come and test that. A nice slow curl over here, holding these key support levels, now just grinding higher and higher and higher. So let's hope that volatility skew steps into the top side, and I think if it does, we're gonna see that momentum kick in these underlying assets, and then we're gonna push through that high a day. But one thing I do want to you guys to keep an eye out on, and which I do all day, every day, is the volume by time profile, all right? So as we're appreciating in price, we're starting to stair step down here, Sharif. So we're gonna need that buying pressure to step in order for us to classify this as a genuine move. But let's see what Adara's up to, guys.
Take a look here at DJT, that is Trump Media and Technology, down about 10%. Keep an eye on these AI plays too, though, because the reason I'm bringing up this ticker is CBS reporting here that Donald Trump is going to announce billions in private sector investments for building AI infrastructure in the U.S. We know that he did announce that investment from Hussein Tajwani at Mar-a-Lago a couple of weeks ago with regards to U.S. AI investments. So we know that's been on watch, but keep an eye on DJT here. There is another AI-related catalyst here. We actually do have, two more. One here, CBS reporting that OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle are working on a joint venture called Stargate, so ORCL, here on watch. Then also, furthermore, also reported by CBS News, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son apparently is expected at the White House this afternoon, along with Sam Altman and Larry Ellison combined their names there. So keep an eye here. OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank working on a joint venture and apparently heading to the White House. So that's likely having something to do with this AI investment here, guys. Back to you.
All right, guys. Are we doing it? All right.
Doing it live.
Hive Digital Technologies on the NASDAQ as ticker HIVE is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining. A global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Digital Hive Tech on X or at HiveDigitalTech.com and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Shout out to the great folks there at Hive Digital. Hey. That's interesting. I was going to say something over here. There's an interesting dude in the chat, and I love his name, Not Ross Cameron.
Not Ross Cameron.
Just like
He's not Ross.
How many pull-ups you got in you? Okay, so I got to just tell you the truth. I'm not going to be able to do them a lot unbroken. I think the max I've ever done unbroken was like 17 or 18. That's like my best ever, I think. But in sets of 10, I can easily do 100, if not more. Yeah. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, we were talking about that. So yeah, I've switched kind of from free weights to more calisthenics the past couple of months, and I tell Sharif, I have this drop set where I go 15 down, so 15, 14, but it consists of pull-ups, dips, leg raises, body squats, and push-ups.
That's the move. I know.
So that's what I'm saying. In the summertime, we're gonna get the lake runs going, and then we're gonna go hit the calisthenic gyms.
There we go, and they're all over the beach, bro.
Dude, they're all over there. So I hit those on a daily basis. For those who are familiar with the city of Toronto, so here we go.
The Katina man asked me a really good question. So I just finished telling you right now, I do them in sets of 10. Yeah. I can do 100. He's like, how in between each set, how much time do you need? That's a great question, Katina man. So here's what I do. I typically throw in something with them. It'll be an opposing muscle group, like push-ups. So if I'm doing pull-ups, it's obviously a pull function. I'll do another push function. What I typically do is I rest for my cardio 30 seconds to 1 minute in between each set. And that's just to kind of get the cardio aspect there. Say that again? Yeah, the Katina man is he's listening. So that's the look. That's kind of what I do. Obviously, everybody's a little bit different. So net total in terms of rest is going to be like a minute to minute and a half. By the time you end up smashing push-ups, you add on top of that the 30 seconds to a minute rest. It's going to be about a minute and a half in between each one. And obviously, to challenge yourself, do fewer or do more or the same amount, but with less rest. Obviously, that helps with your endurance. So, there's your midday session.
Like midday session.
Suggestions? All right, guys. Rigetti, we got stopped out here on the move back down, so we scalped up several right up into the top of 345, and then I take out the rest break even. So Rigetti bouncing off the 10 exponential moving average. So I want to see what it does here. Does it hold the 10 at around 3.25? If it holds 3.25, I'll get back in and right back up. Looks like I got stopped out low, the low wick there, and then right back up into 1340. 13 high 30s, it goes RGTI. Looking good, looking real good over here. But I also like the look of RKLB's jib, Rocket Labs. We're going to send it up to Adara in a hot second, but here it is. This one comes into VWAP, double bottom at VWAP at around 29.75, and now we're getting a 3-candle higher low, higher high formation. So this could be a nice little rounded bottom off that VWAP, off that 30 area. RKLB is already up 28% on the day. We'll keep an eye out on this one, see if it wants to touch that high at day. 31.64. Dara, what do you got for us?
I actually have some crypto news, and it's not related here, as I know we're all waiting for a Donald Trump executive order. This actually has to do here with something straight out of the SEC. So, of course, we do have the head of the SEC has been basically, as of yet, waiting on the approval of that appointment, but that would be Paul Atkins. However, right now, acting chairman Mark Ueda basically announcing that the SEC will have a new crypto task force in order to help develop comprehensive regulatory framework for digital assets. So working on here in some regulation for these digital assets is the SEC. Again, Securities and Exchange Commission has been viewed over the last few years as bearish for crypto, given some of the actions led by former chair Gary Gensler. He's now resigned, and acting chair Mark Uyeda basically saying that they're going to be working on this crypto task force. So keep an eye on that. We do have a nice little rounded bottom here on the 15-minute chart for Bitcoin, but there's still some resistance around that 106 halves level. Keep an eye on BTC USD, guys. Back to you.
Thank you for that. Cheers. As always, Adara. Yeah, I mean, good look there from the crypto front.
Oh, she's talking.
Oh, okay. So yeah, guys, here we are in IBIT. I mentioned this not too long ago. So this is something that you want to keep an eye out on, is this failed high a day break, okay? And now we're starting to reject it with momentum. I mean, that volume on the 5-minute time frame is there, but that's almost to the penny here on IBIT, that you had that double top with the wick, and you see a little bit of selling pressure within those candle prints. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. I'm not saying that we're not going to go and break the high a day. Sorry, I'm trying to mark this down here. I'm not saying that we're not going to go and break the high a day, but that rejection is something you want to keep an eye out on. So let's see if we kind of form a 3-bar play or something along those lines, and then break higher through that 60-60 price target here on IBIT. But again, the King Crypto continuing to trade higher and higher. And I think that this thing is going to skyrocket, Sharif, once it breaks that previous all-time high. I think we go into absolute price discovery, and then that's where we're going to see that 110, 115, and maybe even 1.25 in a span of a couple sessions, because that volatility skew steps in, and then you see that momentum and the average true range of the kind of underlying really start to expand. So continue to monitor that. But speaking of expansion here, Sharif, we have NVDA. It's funny how the day can turn around so quick. Everybody was like, wow, the trend was downside. But here we are, NVDA, that volume starting to pick up on the 5-minute time frames, punching through that high a day. I mentioned that's something that you want to see. You want to see that volatility. Look at this volume here supporting that. That is as genuine as a move as you can classify it. Massive engulfing candle right here with that volume supporting it, and now continuing to climb higher is the king of the chip space. We were just talking about the king of crypto. Now we're in the king of the chip space here, guys. And let's see how far off these all-time highs we are on NVDA. About just a little over 8%, but that can be gone in a matter of a couple of sessions. So beautiful recovery here in the overall market.
Okay, Oracle is going here. Big move. The Katina man yelling about this. 6% right now. ORCL, big boy breakout, midday breakout, moving at 12:40. I got it here, Adara. Trump to unveil new AI infrastructure initiative, and the beneficiaries of that will be Oracle, SoftBank, OpenAI involved. Here is the article. If you want to pause, you can have a read through that. I'm not going to read it live on the air, but big move up here for Oracle. We're going to send it to Adara at the big desk.
Yeah, I mentioned this, I would say, roughly 5 minutes ago this started coming through, but CBS reporting a whole slew of Trump-related AI headlines here, more or less. So apparently here, Donald Trump is set to announce billions of dollars worth of private sector investments for building AI infrastructure in the U.S. This is not a huge surprise. We know a couple weeks ago he did have Hussein Sajwani in at Mar-a-Lago to talk about how he's going to be investing over $1 billion there in the U.S. for AI. Then, of course, we have OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, again, as reported by CBS, working on this joint venture that they're calling Stargate, apparently in connection to this joint venture, the CEOs of all three companies, so Masayoshi Son, Larry Ellison, and Sam Altman, are all set to attend CBS. There's a lot of tickers to keep an eye on here for Sympathy. ARM Holdings apparently moving on this because SoftBank is, of course, a major proponent there of ARM, and they have been invested. We also have, though, Microsoft could be on watch list there as well with Sam Altman and OpenAI. Apparently, as well, I'm seeing some talk that Dell is moving on this catalyst as well. So keep an eye on all these AI-related plays. Donald Trump, we know, is looking for these U.S.-based AI investments, and Oracle, OpenAI, and SoftBank specifically involved there, guys. Back to you.
And we can't forget about the king. You mentioned the king already, right? Yeah, you're involved in the king right now. Hold on, someone's $1.50 in the money. The wrong one over there. It is. There's George Washington. He's in the club. He's dancing.
Me?
That was for you, bro.
Oh, hit it one more time for me.
There you go. There it is. Get it, Joseph Wilson. Great entry on NVIDIA. Joseph is breaking into the high day. Looks destined to go 141, 140.86 HOD as the NQ March contract catches a bit of an aggressive bid. Let's have a look at the future. Haven't looked at this one all day. We're looking like we want to take out that 21,750. And we're above the pre-market high. I don't want to say the overnight high because we printed higher yesterday night when all the pageantry was going on. We got into 21,778. But look at all these top rejections. I'm talking about 5 a.m. I'm talking again about 9 a.m. over here. We're above it, not decidedly above it, but we are technically above it. The overnight high, guys, as I mentioned, 21,778. We are about 50 points away from that right now. A little bit less, I would say. Let's see if we can get up there. NVIDIA breaking out and leading everything to the upside. Adira, again, at the big desk. Get it.
Thank you there, Sharif. We have even more Stargate-related catalysts here. So if you forget, Stargate is the name, apparently, of the joint venture between OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. Again, it's worth noting, Stargate and this joint venture has not been confirmed. It's been reported here by CBS. And also here, we're seeing some reports that Trump's announcement of $100 billion worth of private sector investment here in AI will include here, specifically with the Stargate venture, investments of up to $500 billion over 4 years. But Stargate's going to start by investing in Texas data centers. Now, this is actually seems to be moving Vistra to the upside. Vistra, in case you missed it, was a new entry into the S&P 500 last year. It did extremely well last year. And the reason they're moving here is one of their segments is literally just Texas. So VST heavily involved in Texas. The news of a big data center investment in Texas seems to be pushing VST to the upside. Utilities play. Look for some sympathy plays in names like CEG here as well, guys. Constellation Energy. Back to you.
Just continuing to go here, man. It's
strong, bro.
Yeah, it's super strong.
Excellent trade on your part,
yeah,
brother. Look at those beak wetters. Look at it continue to go. My man's
we're
holding
riffing.
a piece.
Yeah,
Look at
let's
that
go.
smile ear to ear. Look at that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, it is what we're here for,
job,
to have
Joseph.
some fun. I appreciate you, man, as always. But we got a good question here in the chat. Sharif, kind of directed towards both you and I. So do you guys have a condensed trading for newbies to help my ADHD brain understand? And I like this question because one thing is that we have a lot of new viewers in the chat as well too, Sharif. So yeah, if you'd like to chime in on that.
Look, we have very brief lessons that Joseph and I do every day. They never really go over 10 minutes long. I think that should be, sufficient for, the people that don't really want to be in a 2-hour, 3-hour lesson. So here's the deal. Every single show, right at the beginning, we're doing the lesson. So the beautiful thing about YouTube is you can go back to all our previous shows and just go into the part that you want. And I'll submit to you, it's literally like the first 10 minutes. So you can get into every previous show we've ever done in the last year and a half since this show became called How to Trade and not the midday show anymore. We've been doing lessons every single day. So go in and check that out. That's first and foremost. Second, I would suggest to you possibly using ChatGPT to summarize bigger books. The one that I always use, the one that I always talk about, John J. Murphy, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets, kind of known as the Bible of technical analysis, especially for newer traders. You can go into that and, get a chapter or two, ask ChatGPT to summarize it for you in a quantity that you can comprehend, that you're good with. I think that would be an interesting suggestion. I don't know any offhand that I can talk about that, have like card formats or, question and answer, stuff like that, unless you've got something.
No, I don't, but I like the points that you're adding there, Sharif, is just start reading. When you first start off this trading journey, just understand you have to read as much as you possibly can. Absolutely. That's one place where I started. And also just simulator trading. It's not something that you're going to pick up overnight. I mean, we got Neil and Sean over there with umpteen amount of years of experience. Sharif's been trading for a long time as well, too. And now I've entered my 4th year in this tenure. So here we go. I started on the floor in the summertime, but I was trading previously before that. And mind you, this isn't something that you pick up overnight. It takes a long, long time. So don't feel behind or anything along those lines, but just start reading books. Sharif mentioned his, and then you can go with the 4 Dummy series, right? I've read so many of the 4 Dummy books: candlestick patterns, technical analysis, options, economics for dummies, stock market, Canadian Day Trading for Canadians for Dummies, and just read all of those because those are like textbooks, and you can just always refer back to them as well too. But the number one teacher is once you get those fundamentals is because, and one thing that you'll find out is that a lot of the books are saying the exact same thing.
Yep.
But then you have to translate this to real time. And then the only thing that you can really get a grasp of when you are moving into real time is just sitting here watching screen time day after day is really, really important. And sure enough, you'll be able to pick that up. So Nick, just to add on to that point, I mentioned before, and I don't know if you were in earlier, so well, no, Top, don't even, Top VIP, don't say that, because if I can read it, you can read it, and so can everybody else. They're lengthy. Take your notes, write your notes down, however you may jot them, refer back to them. But anyways, what I was getting at here, guys, is that this Thursday, we're going to kind of do an introduction to creating a day trading playbook, and hopefully that will give you some insights on where to start and how you can start collecting data. Oh my God, speaking of collecting data, here, sorry, I'm jumping a little bit, but yeah, speaking of collecting data. But before we jump into that real quick, Sharif, that's what the introduction to day trading is really defining your playbook and understanding how you can kind of navigate the markets here, all right? But we're going to go through a prime example on this and what the lesson is going to be on Thursday. So I'm going to pull up, there we go. And are you hopping in it today or am I hopping in?
You gotta hop in it.
I hopped in it last day. All right. I'll hop in it, baby. I'll hop in it. So guys, we're having fun with that. So here we go. Here, actually, let me get into it here, Sharif, and then we'll just document it. And I'll get you to spit me numbers from that point.
Am I going now?
No, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. No worries. All right, I gotta send Ram these tickers, man, because she's getting really antsy over here. She's displeased that I'm taking this long. So we're gonna have to throw.
What were the results of the poll here? Okay, I shouldn't even have guessed, but tough look up here, folks. But we're gonna go with it anyways. Here's our entry price right here, Sharif.
Yes, sir. 602.49. Sorry, 602.41.
28, 602.41.
Yep.
60.
So we're taking it out.
Yep. At
stop is 601.41.
601.41.
And then we're wetting our beak at 604.41.
Beautiful stuff there, and we're going long once again, folks. And we're in this here at 104. And we are going to grab 100 shares, and today is the 21st.
You're punching in 100 shares right now?
No.
I like the look on your face.
No, we're not going that. But on this, we'll document it as if it's the same thing, regardless of what it is here, guys. So this is kind of being a prime example of constructing that day trading playbook, all right? And this is something in the data collection series. It's not exactly like this, but guys, if you do something like this, this allows you to determine, and you can see our win and loss ratio here with the consistent risk to reward. This is what you want to do when you're first starting out, is just collect as much data as you possibly can and read as much as you possibly can.
Absolutely agree, man. And I want to mention something that Dara said here for the newer traders. Participating in the market, even just by watching, was great for helping me learn. So is the show/community. Absorb everyone's style and find your own. Shout out to Dara. I think that's very sound advice, especially from someone who's only been trading a year and a half. She's more qualified to basically talk about, the learning pains of trading, because we've been removed from that for a hot minute. So shout out to
I feel pain sometimes.
Learning pains.
Yeah.
Trading pains are different.
Those are forever lasting.
Plenty of those.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the new poll is now up, guys, and you've got some usual suspects on here, but some of them we haven't put on in a while. You have RGTI Rigetti, because the Katina man was trading it. I was trading it. I don't know if Neil was. He's usually on these quantum names. I don't know if he touched it today. SMCI as well, up 5 1/4, catching a bit of a bid. So go in right now. Have your say every day. Rivian getting clapped 7% today to the downside. That's my vote there. Obviously, likely to do with the credits, or the EV credits that are going to be removed now. I think he signed the executive order yesterday. So that's the two-part thing with those credits, guys. One is that these EV companies make money by selling their credits because they don't pollute, or their cars don't pollute. Not when driving, in the production process. They don't, so they sell their EV credits to other companies who pollute. That goes on their balance sheet as income. That's 100% profit. They're not really encountering money or encountering charges or costs by having those credits. It's part of their normal business operations. So they sell that to people. That will hurt them if they're no longer able to sell. I think Tesla made somewhere around $10 billion in the last little bit off those credits. The other part of that is that $7,500 EV credit that goes to the consumer. That's going to have the effect of reducing sales because it's going to increase the price by about $7,500. So a couple of ways we can digest this EV credit removal yesterday from Donald Trump vis-a-vis Executive Order ADIRA.
Keep an eye here on Bitcoin here, BTC. I guess it'll be usually this is around the time where we do our crypto update here during the midday. So I guess we'll take a look here now as well because we do some news that I want to share. SEC acting chair here, Mark Ueda, after the resignation of Gary Gensler, as we had about 15 minutes ago, basically has announced that they're going to be working on some new regulations for crypto and this crypto space to basically work on that. And this is actually going to be an effort apparently led by Hester Pierce, who is an SEC commissioner. This is going to be a crypto task force. Mark Ueda now making some more comments on this task force, saying that, quote, to date, the SEC has relied primarily on enforcement actions to regulate crypto retroactively and reactively, but actually here saying that clarity must be given here for who's allowed to register, and there must be some practical solutions for those seeking to register because those have been elusive in the past. So actually, this looks pretty bullish here for crypto. This crypto task force doesn't seem like it's trying to crack down on crypto, but actually trying to bring it up here by providing clearer regulatory framework, which we know people involved in crypto have been looking for. So it looks like a win here for acting SEC Chair Ueda on his first day after the resignation of Gary Gensler. Good look for this move here. And as we said here, still some resistance here for BTC on the 15-minute chart at that 106.5 level. Let's take a look at Ethereum as well here on the 15-minute chart, looking actually identical to BTC and running into its anchored VWAP from the election. XRP, we'll take a look at as well, XRP USD. This one also looking similar, nice little rounded bottom with some resistance at around that 330 level, I would say, on the 15-minute chart. One last look here at Doge USD. We know Doge has been on watch, of course, with the Department of Government Efficiency, now being led solely by Elon Musk after Vivek Ramaswamy, who was supposed to co-lead it with Musk, has stepped down. So Elon Musk solely leading the Department of Government Efficiency, and Doge, the namesake of this coin's acronym, actually having a bit of a bull flag here. So great look for a lot of these crypto names. Just to recap, Ethereum and Bitcoin looking nearly identical as new acting SEC Chair Mark Ueda emphasizes working on these regulatory steps for Bitcoin. Again, this actually, it looks pretty positive for BTC, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, as always, Adara. We have a good question here from Will Trade for Food. If you begin to get... I knew you would laugh at that one. To get straight up aggravated trading, do you take a break? And if so, for how long? Or do you keep grinding? That's a phenomenal question, as Sharif just said, because we've all been through it. Matter of fact, I had that scenario happen to me this morning. But guys, one thing is when you're trading at home, just take that break. You don't want to start to become impulsive. And one thing that is most important is make sure you have those risk measures implemented on your platform and with your broker, all right? Because what we used to call it is hulking out, right? Or we'd hulk it out, or as referred to on the floor as tilted. I was tilted, and therefore you're not thinking straight, and now you're making irrational decisions opposed to data-driven decisions, okay? So just get out of there. As hard as it may be, it's actually one of the hardest skills to acquire, and I think it's like the quicker you get at perfecting that, the better off you're going to be in the long run. So just take that break, go eat some food, especially if you're hungry, have a glass of water, walk around the house. Avoid your desk for at least 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour. The longer, the better, and then come back and assess. And if you still think that you're not level-headed, just call it a day, because guess what, Sharif? The market is going to be here tomorrow, bright and early. 4:30 a.m. is when the pre-market starts, and then 9:30 the open every single day. I don't think it's ever changed ever. So there you go.
I don't know, maybe not, but not that I know.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is. Just walk away and come back.
Sound strategies, dude. I gotta tell you, when I get tilted and it I don't take big size on the show in kind of to put myself in the position of getting tilted, but there are times when the long term is down and you are in a precarious position. Today is case in point. And quite frankly, what I find helps is to kind of slow things down, right? It's easy to ruminate on a problem when you're in the middle of the problem. So what I try to do is kind of like dissociate myself completely, help my mind move on to something else, and then I'll return to it and see if I feel the same way. And I gotta tell you, 8 times out of 10, I don't feel the same way. It's, you know, you've had an opportunity to calm down and to look at it from a bigger picture. Here's what I mean. Okay, I don't really talk about my winners, but when you're in a big position and you're in a big winner, it's easy to look at how much you've lost off the top. It's a lot easier to forget how much you're off from how much you're up from your entry. And so when you can kind of look at things from a higher level and, you know, kind of brings everything into perspective. Not everybody's going to be like that. You might have a tough day and you might not be up anything. And then, you know, you could be down as a trader in general. That's a bit of a different story. But if you are a good trader and you're having a tough day and it's just one of those outlying days, that's all right, man. Just put it back into perspective. Know about your winners in the past. Know about the system. Just regain focus for that whole approach. That's kind of what I'm trying to say there. I don't know if I did a really good job at explaining that, but we're going to send it to Adair at the big desk.
If you were thinking, well, there can't be any more plays related to that Oracle headline with SoftBank and OpenAI, you actually would be incorrect. We have another mover potentially related to this story. WiseKey, WKEY. This is a small cap that has run semi-frequently, especially lately. Now, it's worth noting, this one actually was already headed to the upside starting around 12 p.m., announcing that they've launched their their WiSat second generation satellite here. But WKEY, the other story here is they actually have a little bit of a connection to Oracle, which I looked into here. Apparently, they are part of the Oracle for Startups program. That's as of July 2019, so they've been historically associated with this program. And we know that according to CBS, Oracle, along with OpenAI and SoftBank, are apparently working on this Stargate joint venture to help invest in data centers in the U.S. Apparently, the CEOs of all 3 companies are headed to the White House, so keep an eye on WKEY. Also Reddit on watch here. During the midday, around 12:15 p.m., Raymond James raised their price target on Reddit to $200 from $150. That went sharply to the upside here as well, guys. RDDT, WKEY. Back to you.
WKEY just made its way onto the side chart over here. Great look above 10. Shout out to Tisha for calling that out. She also called out VATE. Keeping an eye on that one. Just took VWAP. But I want to mention what ADL said. Adam DeLuce. Anybody who's been following the show for a while knows he is a chat OG. A show OG, I should say, because he's been on the show. So shout out to him. Great chime in from him. From a systematic point of view, I have a daily equity % limit that once triggered stops trading. I think that is the most sound way to do it. If you are hitting your daily loss, get up and leave the desk. In the same way that, I don't know, I've never had a daily profit target, but if I did and I wasn't on the show, I'd walk away from the desk too so that I don't give it back. Yep. I think it should be working both ways. Now, obviously, if you're on a bit of a heater there, that could pose a bit of a problem because pulling yourself away from a winner is sometimes a little bit easier said than done. So shout out to Adam, great chime in there.
Yep.
Iggy Sosa. Sharif, well said. These psychological points of view are one of my biggest takeaways from the show. Has helped me so much better implement my strategies. Great advice. Thank you, my friend. We hope you print up multiple storms. Look, it's a lot easier to, say, oh, just let your stop loss trigger and you'll be completely emotionless and everything will everything will just execute in the way that like you're a robot. You're not a robot. You're a human being with emotions. A lot of us can obviously control our emotions a lot better than others. Some of us don't get emotional at all when we're trading. Some of us get very emotional, and it's just, you know, everybody's a little bit different. Get it, Katina, man?
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at right now. I just wanted to mention something over here. We're about 25 pennies in the money in Rocket Labs. I'm in at 75s. I just wet my beak there at 31s. Now I'm waiting at 10s. But let me tell you, RK Dang LB has resistance at 31 and has had resistance at that $31 area going on the better part of half an hour. When we initially got there, it was around 12.50. That's when I punched long. And we've been having a lot of trouble taking out 31 decisively. You'll see that I have some prints above 31, but it was short-lived. It was super quick, and if I didn't have resting orders above that 31, I probably wouldn't have got filled because it didn't spend a whole lot of time there. 05's now showing up. Let's see if this one can move up. I'm waiting at 9s or 10s or something like that. So we'll see. We have, how many outs? We have 4 outs left on this bad boy, so I'd like to print on this one with a bit of a flat top at $31. And when we saw that flat top on Rigetti, knees are heavy earlier, that 13, it definitely took it. And it did quite well because it gave you about 50 pennies off that level. Tisha, I'm continuing to watch VATE here. But Tisha, I don't know how you feel about this. You know how I trade these small cap gappers. I get above the pre-market high. And I don't know why this one printed at 4 a.m. all the way up over here, but it did do a print at 4 a.m. at 891. Technically, the high of the day at the bell, at the opening bell, that is 881. I'm going to have to wait until that level gets taken out before I weasel my way into VAT. It's a very respectable move up on the day, 63% and change here, Tisha. Let me know how you're trading this, but I'm waiting. I'm packing my patience over here. I'd like to be able to get in something above that. 881. Okay, just before we send it back to Joseph, I got the print at 10s. But again, look, it's top wick. It's unable to stay. I'm talking about RKLB above 31. So let's layer an order over here. Let's sit in the teens. I'm going to sit at 15s, whatever. We'll see what we get, and we will not get upset, Joseph. What is your look on that side? How many dollars now are you in the money on NVIDIA?
Oh, I'm done. I had pieced out. I took out my last bid here. We can pull it up here for you guys real quick and see what we had going on with that from. But yeah, so we played the breakout of that resistance level in at 139.52. Last out was at 141.32-ish. So that's that, guys. And one last thing I want to touch on is as well too, considering we're talking a little bit about psychology, is that you will feel an immense more emotion with your losses than you do with your wins.
100%
okay?
agree.
Yeah, right?
100%.
So you will feel more emotion. And one thing is, and they say that with gambling, like sports gambling, is that people like real immense sports gamblers and people who are deep into it above their head, they don't really care about winning. It's just the feel of emotion, and that feel of loss is drastically bigger than winning. Because when you win, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's it. That's it. I won. That's it, right? But when you lost, you have more to dwell over, and that emotion comes out, and that's what people tend to get addicted to. So when you're really starting to feel it at the pit of your core, just get out of Dodge, go reassess. And sure enough, ADL had a good point too. The last time the market didn't open at 9:30 was in 1987, because it used to open up at 10 a.m. back then, he said. So 1987 was the last time that the market didn't open at 9:30. So we will be here bright and early.
You were what, -5?
I was -5. Yeah, I was literally -5 at that time. Yeah, so I wasn't even thought of, I don't think. So there's that one, guys. But here we are in some IBIT, up about 1.6% on the session now, going to crack those highs of days. This is what we want to see, but we need that volume to step in on those lower time frames in order for us to push through. I think 110, 111 can be in the works for today. Not necessarily immediately this session, but I want to show you guys what exactly I'm looking at, is how we have these this 3-bar play going on, a nice break of this resistance here a previous couple days ago, but then it also had held this trend that we had marked out as well too, guys, off of those lows. And as I was doing my analysis over the weekend, I'm like, hey, okay, we're holding these levels extremely well. We're holding this resistance level that was once resistance, is now acting as support, and now we can potentially put in that 3-bar play here, Sharif. We have this really big volume candle here with an indecision doji, but it's not isolated or anything along those lines. So what my thesis is standing is that, okay, I think that we can punch through this 107 with momentum and then head into blue sky territory and run new price discovery. And I believe that's going to bring us into the teens here on Bitcoin. So let's see. I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen right this minute, but with the trajectory that we are on, it's only a matter of time until this price action continues and that volatility skew steps in, and I believe it's going to step in once we break that high a day.
I'm just listening to a conversation about possibly the incoming PM of this country, Pierre Poilievre, being asked by reporters whether he would be okay, whether he would support an export tax on Canadian oil to the United States. I mean, that just hurts Canadian companies. Yeah. I mean, I don't get this whole wanting to put export taxes on certain things. It's like,
so wouldn't that just kind of be the carbon tax all over again?
Well, it wouldn't be for Canadians. It would be for anybody, well, in the States who was buying Canadian oil, which they buy plenty of. It would just be more costly. And to me, that would motivate them to seek oil elsewhere or just look to their own reserves. Now, obviously, they have the most reserves in the world, but to extract it, I think, especially for newer wells, it might take some time. So that may not be a possibility like in the immediate term, but it pushes them down that road in the short or the intermediate to long term. I don't like this export tax.
Did you hear what
Canada.
Is that what Pierre said about
he was
the
being asked about it?
Okay, so you didn't hear it. So you didn't hear his response on
I didn't get to fully hear the response. Obviously, we will have a different PM before, if Pierre Poilievre wins, and that's never guaranteed. It will be another individual by the name of Mark Carney. Now, he may be familiar to some people in England because he was the Bank of England for a hot minute before he was the Bank of Canada governor. He was the Bank of England. He was the governor of the Bank of England. You know what I mean? Before he or after he was the governor of the Bank of Canada. So he spent some time across the pond over there. And now he is likely going to be the first prime minister Canada has had in a very long time that isn't sitting in parliament. How is that even legal? I don't even know. Do you know this? So he is going to be the prime minister, likely, if he wins the Liberal leadership race, without actually holding a seat in parliament.
That's crazy. No, I didn't even know that. No. Mark Carney.
And that's completely legal. I was looking into it, and it's happened a few times in the past. What do you mean? How? He got voted in. No, but Katina, man, he's never been elected by the electorate. So it's like, if you're a member of parliament, you win your leadership race of the party, then you get to be the prime minister. He doesn't even have a seat in the parliament, dude. I mean, it upsets me a little bit there.
Carbon tax, Carney.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go down that road. I didn't want to label him and stuff, but those are funny. Those are
funny, man. Well, essentially, this guy wants no more road trips, no more using your internal combustion engine, essentially, and you just got to sit at home and live in communities. So, yeah, it's no more road trips. That's it. As I said, you can't drive. Yeah, you can't drive across country. No more of that.
All right, I love the chat when you guys chime in. Keep in mind that we love all the comments, okay? And if you guys are absolutely in disagreement with me, I love you even more. Just keep everything clean, keep everything civilized. I don't care if you disagree with me every single day, as long as we just keep it kosher between us two, and we can have a civilized conversation. So the point of what I'm trying to make here is we're likely going to have a different prime minister than the current one right now before we get the eventual prime minister at the election. When that election is, we don't know, okay? So we're going to have to continue to pack our patience. Likely by the end of March, people saying by the end of March, possibly by early April. It's all speculation until we get that election call from the Governor General. So that is the situation right now. So here's the deal. We're involved in Rocket Lab. Believe it or not, it's a trading show. We're involved in HARK-LB, guys, and I'm waiting 31.15 for that print. It's been whiffling. It's been waffling. I got the print at 10s. Now I'm waiting at 15s. The only reason I'm waiting at a very unambitious area is because it's having a lot of trouble with 31. So if the bottom drops off, I don't want to be caught holding the bag. We're long 70, so we're 35 pennies in the money. But again, it means nothing to me until we get away from that 31, because 31's been holding as a resistance level for a while now. So we'll keep an eye out on that.
Immediate.
Let's see what we all talk about here. With love to all. Relax, Sharif. We had a clone for a president for 4 years in the USA. All right. Okay. I'm relaxed, I promise. Let's see. Do you have to be, let me read this person's name out first. Vici. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Do you have to be born in Canada to be PM? Just curious. Answer is no. We don't have that birther requirement in this country. We do not have that. It's not in the Constitution. And to amend the Constitution is very hard. Eddie R. Sometimes you are too biased, Sharif. I know, brother. I have my biases. Nobody can completely be impartial. Biases are going to come out of me no matter what. And I do apologize if they show. But it's how I feel. At least you're getting the genuine me and not some fake you know what. Okay? Let's see what else people are talking about. The governor, or Visvin, the governor general would have to dissolve parliament if that happens. Currently can't be PL without winning an election. You're right. After the election, okay, so here's the rule. If you are going to be a PM without actually having a seat in parliament, you have to seek election at the first available opportunity. So that's essentially when the first election gets called. And as sitting prime minister, even though he doesn't have a seat, he controls the governor general to ask her to call the election. She won't do it on her own volition. And that will be a constitutional crisis that hasn't happened in a really long time. Let's keep going down over here.
We got a good one. I got to read it. Sharif for PM. Let's go. I'm in. You guys got my vote. You got my vote.
I'd be booted.
You got my vote, buddy. You got my vote.
Oh, man. They'll be like, yo, send this Egyptian back, bro. We don't want this guy here. The Katina man brings up a good point. Yeah. You got to be fluent in French. And I'm certainly not fluent in French. I speak a little bit, but definitely not enough to weasel my way in. I'm learning Mandarin, baby.
Mandarin, yeah.
I'm
I'm sure you can learn French.
Yeah,
no idea. What does that mean?
What's your name?
What's your name?
The most basic of the basics, Joseph. Yeah. All right, what do we got over here? Doubled my knowledge of Canadian politics just by listening here. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. We're going to send it to Adara in a second at the big desk. I want to let you know that we're continuing to watch RKLB whiffle and waffle at $31. I don't know if this flat top breaks like Rigetti did at $30 or $13. Adara is at the big desk.
Citigroup on watch here, kind of careening into some support here, slightly lower highs on C, though we're up on the day. Seeing some reports here in X, the company is set to face a lawsuit here from the New York Attorney General related to some fraud scams. Some claims in the lawsuit have apparently been dismissed, but overall the judge has ruled that at least some aspects of this lawsuit must be faced here by C. So keep an eye on C, Citigroup, pushing to the downside after forcing to face, it seems like the bulk of here, the charges in this New York Attorney General's lawsuit related to fraud. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, as always, guys. Sorry, we had a $2 super chat as well, too. I want to make sure we touch on that. $5 super chat from Swoldemort back in the building. Much appreciated, Sharif for PM. Billboards are just that. Jack Forearms, 100% popular vote, guaranteed. Exactly. So there we go. We'll get Sharif up there. Thank you, Swoldemort, for the $5 super chat. And then we have one stock related. FOXO is a penny stock and AI company. Let's pull it up here. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Long retail bull, FOXO, Foxo Technologies. And let's see what we got going on from an intraday perspective. This thing is not liquid, so you're not going to be trading this on today's session. So yeah, not much we can say from an intraday technical standpoint, but you can see the liquidity start to pick up here a couple of sessions ago last week and then slowly started to cool off. But let's zoom out as we typically do and check what we got going on from a daily perspective. So as you see, that volatility steps in as well as the average true range of this underlying starting to expand, something that you want to keep an eye on. with that volume supporting that breakout, are we going to be trading this from an intraday perspective? Maybe Sharif will be, but again, it's not liquid enough, as we've seen on that 5-minute time frame, that you can't trade that. This is almost like buyout price action here, so not something that we're necessarily going to be looking to play from an intraday perspective, but these sessions are more along the lines of what we are looking for and want to monitor, especially if this underlying asset is in play. So next time it's in play, maybe it'll pop up on Sharif's scanner, but even so, it seems to be slightly cheap for his liking, but that's FOXO from a technical perspective. And hopefully that helped you. So thank you, Long Retail Bull, for that $2 super chat, and thank you, Swoldemort, for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. $5 Canadian and $2 American. So thank you guys as always. Much appreciated. Swoldemort gave you a big shout out there, Sharif. $5 super chat, and has you elected as next Prime Minister of Canada. So there's
I appreciate
Swoldemort and Harry Spotter. Whoever said that one.
Yo, these great.
Yeah, that's
Swole and Spot. Uh-oh. Look who joined. He's back. $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much. A big smile. Burdette just tuned in.
I know. This guy is absolutely hilarious.
Is Don Lemon doing the show with Joe?
That is funny.
Dude, I don't know if you saw Don Lemon on X or wherever he's streaming these days with the election on. Just suffice it to say, go back and have a listen. It's good. It's commentary. I think he's doing it on purpose. Shout out to Don Lemon, obviously, in case you're wondering who we're talking about. Former CNN anchor had that 10 o'clock spot where Abby Phillips is now. They gave him the old boot. I think they gave him the boot on the morning show because he said some stuff. So, I think he did have the morning show after he had that 10 o'clock show. So he was on.
Who, Don? Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
He had the morning show with... I don't know who he was on with. I don't know, like I watched.
We all know what happened. We all know what happened with Don Lemon.
Don.
His interview with Elon is hilarious. Like it's like
I've
Don.
never seen it.
You've never seen it? Wow.
It's going on the watch.
Yeah, you gotta watch that one. You just giving like Don just doing Don things.
He was very fair and balanced, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So he totally reasonable dudes. But Elon was just like, Don, you're on X. Like, what are you talking about? Pretty much half the time. So that's a good interview if you can check it. But we got another one from Vasil Momentenko. Hey guys, I have a long position on Nike. I hope it will cover. Can you please look at it for me? And any news? Okay, yeah, we will most definitely. Wow, Microsoft is absolutely tanking here, Sharif. But we're gonna pull up NKE here real quick because I'm sure Adara's got some. Okay, so we're gonna go to Adara and then Vasil. Then we're gonna come back and take a look at Nike for you as soon as we get back from Adara.
What's going on?
I wanted to jump in here because this is actually the reason we had this little volume pop in Nike NKE. It is a sympathy play with Adidas. Adidas did release preliminary Q4 earnings, so their revenue here, again, preliminary Q4 revenue for Adidas, above estimates. Adidas also beat estimates here for their gross margin for Q4. So keep an eye here on NKE, guys. That is the story there. Back to you.
So Vasil, there you go. You got some news on that. Sympathy play with Adidas, but here we are looking at it from a technical perspective here, Sharif. We got this going on, a double bottom. Will Nike start to recover? That's a great question. Is Nike a dying brand? Even greater question, in my opinion. I mean, it's such a prolific name and iconic, so I guess it's tough, but look where it's sitting from a technical standpoint. Can we bounce off of this? Absolutely, but I think a lot's going to have to happen within the internals of the company.
Let's talk a little bit about like the actual company right now. Number one, are you a fan of their current stuff? I'm talking about shoes, I'm talking about clothes, the stuff that moves a needle.
To be honest with you, I think it's old. They're not really that innovative, and there's cheaper alternatives that are equally as good and cost half as less.
So you're not a fan of the tech fleeces. That's not your.
No. I could go to Gymshark. I could go to Gymshark and instead of buying 200 on the Nike Tech, I can get a matching Gymshark for a third of the price.
It's a third of the price.
Well, yeah, dude, a sweater 40 bucks, 50. Gymshark is like 40 bucks, 50 bucks for sweatpants. Yeah, it's good stuff. You know what Nike used to be. So that's what all my gym attire
was more available in retail stores. You wouldn't have to go online. You could try that stuff on.
But I think
it keeps costs low.
But I think that exactly right. So it's keeping costs low and it's UK based. So you're right. So again, opening up that brick and mortar, is that going to be the downfall? Like, I mean, with right, so it was significantly more expensive opening up brick and mortar. Now you got to pay rental fees and establishing all these. So opposed to just kind of e-commerce standpoint, then kind of like Nike kind of drifted. Moved away from its wholesalers or whatever and then opened up their own stores.
It left Dick's Sporting Goods. It was leaving. It wanted that direct-to-consumer look, but they kind of switched, and we saw that with their last earnings report. They're doing a 180. They're not going to focus as much on DTC, and they're going to look to wholesalers again, like Dick's Sporting Goods and the others. On this side of the border, we have Sports Check, some others like that, but Joseph's got to pay some bills.
Hey, let's go. Trade smarter, guys. eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data, instant trading, know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. Charts that change the game, customize and analyze markets faster your way. Better back testing and scanning, predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable real-time data, up to the second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need all in one place. Don't miss a beat, execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. There it is, guys. QR code and hit that link in the description.
So the reason I asked you that question is because I happen to be a big fan of Nike.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing is, I really use my gym clothes. And so for them to be durable is like almost super important for me. I'm not that kind of guy that goes through, just stuff and, buy stuff, throws it out. That's not how I am, right? Like I can have a piece of clothing and it would, like gym stuff, would last me past 5 years. And Nike stuff holds up.
It does.
It holds up.
It does.
So to me, that rings important. But at the same time, it's not just me that they're trying to sell to. Obviously, they're trying to sell to a lot more people. And so that's why I asked you. I wanted to see what your opinion was on their current line. What is the disconnect right now between Nike and the consumer? Because there is a disconnect.
I think
whether it's price or whatever it is.
I think price obviously has a big thing to do with it. It's a very good point because I still have a Jordan jumpsuit that I bought in 2016-17 and still looks pretty good, like in good shape. I run it and everything. But to add on to that point, Sharif, when I'm scrolling through my social media, you see the Gymshark ads, you see the Aloe ads, you see all these other kind of athleisure wear ads. But what I'm not seeing is these Nike ads kind of on some of the social media platforms. I don't know if that's the case for you, but I'm not seeing, you don't see them, okay? So if you want to go direct to the consumer, what are you going to have to do? You want to get in touch with the youth here. How are you going to do that? You got to get on these social media platforms. You need to start advertising on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and get people back onto this brand because right now you have Gymshark, Aloe, and some of the other names that are just dominating the space because they're on these social media platforms.
That's a great point. Ram, do you see a lot of Nike ads on your social media coming in? No, she doesn't. Say that again. Okay, so Andre's chiming in. He's like, he sees Under Armour a lot on his social media coming in, which is interesting. Like, look, at the same time, we can't judge a company, exclusively on how much money they're spending on digital ad sales. In fact, I'd submit to you the one that doesn't spend money on digital ad sales that can sell anyway is probably the better setup because they're not expending that much. But we know Nike is having an issue with buyers right now. Obviously, it's reflected in the stock price. It's reflected in a lot of these analyst forecasts, and it's reflected in their sales. The numbers don't lie. So it's a fantastic question. I happen to like their clothing. I happen to like their stuff. I think it's durable. I think it holds up well through the years. I think it's quite stylish, but that's just me. And it doesn't really matter what I think. It matters what the market as a whole thinks. So that's the situation. All right, guys, I just wanted to mention quickly here, Joseph. Here we go. We had a failed break of 31.10 on RKLB. And that failed break didn't fill me at 15s, but look at the vigor with which we dropped. This happened before. We got into 10s and we dropped to 80s. So I'm keeping my eye out on this range right now. Anything below my entry, I'm gone on Rocket Labs. I've already moved up the stop. Now, the question is, if we don't break this 80, is this a range that I need to look to build more of my position at 30.80? I'm long 30.70, but it's been bouncing off this 80 for a hot minute. Every time it works its way down to 80, it's being bought up. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. I'm talking about RKLB, Rocket Labs, up 28.5% on the day, but certainly having trouble, a whole lot of trouble right now with $31, at least on a closing basis. Right back into 31 it goes. So I answered my own question there, whether or not that 80 level was important. The other one that I wanted to point out, I didn't have a trade on this one, but it was on the side chart and I left it that way. Big Bear AI has had a lot of respect today for the volume weighted average price. You had a double bottom there initially at 11.55 and 12, and then you had all sorts of holding right there on Big Bear AI from 1 o'clock all the way to the 1:30 time slot when we got away from VWAP. So you had plenty of time to set up at that 4.25, 427, 430. And here we go, coming into local highs at 440 with the HOD at 451. So keep your eye out on that one. That could set up interesting here. Rigetti, still below that 1350 HOD that we had, I don't know, a 5-minute candle hold up there. We're working back off that 13 dip and pop. This one sadly stopped me out. I should have been more alive to this level, this 1290 level, because we whiffled and waffled at 1290 for a hot minute before we ended up moving back up. Big Spile Burdette, weaseling into a possible swing short here on SPY. Based on daily chart, see if the breakout continues into the end of the day or if I can get some profit and let a piece work. Shout out to Big Spile. It goes on to say, if you don't wear work boots, chucks, or barefoot when you deadlift, you ain't no gym bro. So I can't I can't go barefoot at the gym because I'll get my membership revoked. But when I sesh in the morning, because I sesh at 5 a.m. to 5:30, I'm almost always barefoot or in my socks. I'm obviously in my condo, so I'm not really gonna put on shoes like a sociopath. No, I'm kidding, of course. So yeah, I definitely do it there. I'm not one of those people that is like obsessed with squatting or deading barefoot. I have lifters from my CrossFit days, which are shoes for squatting and lifting or dead. So I just use those. But I mean, I don't have a problem with people who squat barefoot. I just don't want to do it. The Converse game, I see a lot of the youngins at the gym. They always work because they're flat. Yeah, they're flat, right? That's the whole point of squatting in Converse. I see a lot of people at the gym doing that. Yeah, that's a look right there. What is everybody else talking about over here? The Emotionless Trader. I absolutely love that name. I got maple syrup for the waffle, Shreve. Send them my way, baby. I'm a big advocate of maple syrup.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Remember that heist back
especially
in,
Canadian.
Remember that maple syrup heist? Oh, you never, like, they stole a bunch of millions of dollars of maple syrup?
Maple syrup?
Yeah, because it's, you don't remember? Yeah. So the big, so a big heist. Canadian heist, they stole a bunch of the maple syrup reserve. Yeah,
where did they sell it? Who's buying maple syrup?
A lot of people. It's a big game, right? It's a big game. It's a commodity. So there we go. But we got another super chat there. Forget the currency on that one. But Nimrod, thank you. How did you guys spend the extended off weekend? What's your favorite Canadian stock? I just relaxed, did some TA, did some working on lessons for you guys, and hit the gym as well too. But I mentioned this before, my favorite Canadian stock is probably going to have to be Enbridge, ENB. That's something that I'm going to be looking at. So yeah, again, so Neil's involved in that. I don't own any of it, but we were talking about it on that Jimmy Carter Friday on how south of the border, they're going drill, baby, drill. And I think with the new administration coming in here, possibly anyways, I think that's going to be the same narrative. So Enbridge was my Canadian pick.
Yeah, Neil's like, look, it's a great dividend pair. I know Brendo's looking at that as well. A lot of people like an Enbridge. My only concern with Enbridge was something that I heard on a podcast, a Canadian-specific podcast, a while ago. This is about a year and a few months ago. October 2023 was when I heard this, that they had heavy amounts of debt, and that they were continuing to pay a high coupon, and then that was going to be problems on their balance sheet. But I think they've shored things up since that time, so I don't think that holds true anymore. Say that again, Neil? That was that podcast I sent you, the Canadian Investor. Neil knows what I'm talking about.
There you go.
So shout out there. Obviously, nothing I say should be taken at face value, and you should be doing your own homework, especially for those investments where there's more on the line. All right, guys, here we go. RKLB back above 31 again. I'm waiting at 15s. It's showing me 14s right now. I've been waiting a hot minute. I'm not moving down my order, and I don't care if I don't get filled. We're going to have to exercise some self-control over here. I'd like to see if this one wants to take out that 315, then really squeeze. We already know the high of the day is 31.64. It's got higher lows with a flat top. That is usually a bullish sign. We call that an ascending wedge. In the same way that the descending wedge is awfully bearish because it's showing you lower highs with a flat bottom. Almost always we get a flat bottom break. So kind of imagine the opposite of what you just saw there, but in the contra positive to the upside. So I'm waiting here. I've been waiting for a hot minute on RKLB for a break and take decidedly of 31. It looks like I'll have to continue to wait. The other one that I've been involved in for a while, LITM, has worked its way right back into the highs over here, or near the highs. Technically the high 16, it's showing me 14s right now. I'm only kind of disappointed in myself a little bit that I didn't add on the move back down. It didn't give me that much time to add. Like, look at that. It bottomed out there at 9s, but the wick takes us all the way to 6s, which is where I was involved in, but it was a quick wick on the 1 minute. It didn't hang out at that level for all that long, so I was not able to add to my trade on LITM. Our GTI continues to work into that 1350. Here we go again. So this one had a bit of a retracement, as I mentioned, into 1290, but we are right back near the highs. 1346 we just printed, showing 40s now with that high of the day 50, very much in view, up 36%. What a day it has been for Rigetti, recovering a little bit after Jensen tanked these stocks as a group. I'm talking about quantum stocks, basically saying that they're, way out in I don't want to say distant future, but he's given it about a 15 to 20 year window there, maybe even a little bit more. Here comes RKLB again, Joseph, this time into 80s. Now, do I add? That is the question. Do I add at this level? Because it has been bouncing off here multiple times. And here's the deal. It bounces off 80s and then it makes marginally a higher high. I'm not saying by much, but we hadn't been at 15s prior to that. I'm talking about 30 15s. Here we go. I'm going to add here.
Woohoo,
I didn't get it. I didn't get it unless it comes back down. So let's see. I didn't. There we go. Now we got it. So now I'm going to have to move up my stop, or I have to change my stop now. Okay, so here we go. We're going to win in the mid-90s over here for a beak wetter. Let's see if we can get that. I'm going to move up my stop just a skosh, send it to you as I do that.
Hey, good look there. We have some good questions in the chat too. Talking about Tesla and thinking if it's going to trade higher on the day. So let's point out a couple key things from my perspective here on Tesla. So what you can see is the overall market and some of these big names continuing to trade higher, like the Qs testing the pre-market highs, SPY trading around its highs of days, NVDA trading higher, as well as Google trading half decent. And then you have Tesla here, right? Not following the overall market. So you have to think something is up. Like that buy program is not necessarily going to step in at this moment. Can it at some point throughout the day? Absolutely. But then you have to sit and ask yourself, why is it lagging the rest of the market? Usually you would think it'd be relatively close to tracking the Qs and the SPY as well too. But here we are sitting with Tesla still down on the session, probably closer to about 2% now on the day. But here we are, kind of, it is lagging the overall market, and you have to ask yourself why, and it can be many reasons, okay? So just keep that in mind. Are we trading higher now? Absolutely. Can we catch up? Absolutely. But there must be a deeper reason on why we are not trading higher. So that is my look. Can it squeeze and recover this massive engulfing 5-minute orb here on the session? Absolutely. But look where the SPY and the Qs are sitting from a technical perspective right now. Can it drag it higher? Yep, I'm going to say yes again, but only time will tell. So just keep that in mind. There could be a reason why it's lagging, but then it can also catch up as well too. Is it going to skyrocket today? I don't know. We're sitting close to 2 o'clock, which is time just flies when you're having fun chatting with you guys and with Sharif. So yeah, again, just be patient. If that volume decides that it wants to step in, then absolutely look to participate. Other than that, don't anticipate right now, because those sellers, that sell program can kick in, and then whenever something decides, like if the overall market decides that it wants to pull back, then Tesla's going to get hit significantly harder, because it's not as, it didn't catch up with the overall market. So hopefully that can help and give you some insight, but that's just how I would look at it from my perspective. All right, so hopefully that helped you guys. Tesla is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it sucks today. Absolutely, down 5% is a hefty hit. Let's pull it up here, guys. I mean, we got a little bit out of it here, slowly grinding higher. But from a daily perspective, I showed you guys my notes earlier. But sitting under R4, I thought that we would maybe sit on top of R4 at some point and break through, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But I do think Tesla's going to recover relatively quick. We know that volatility can step in, and it would only take a matter of sessions for this thing to make a new all-time high.
All right, Project HNB, Sharif. Thoughts on BTBT? So this is one that I used to have on my crypto watch list. I removed it because it was sub $1 for a while when crypto went through that crypto winter. Obviously, let's look at the daily. Let's get a bit of a better assessment. Obviously, we're nowhere near those pandemic highs, as I call them, when we were at about 20 and a half or wherever, 20 and 2/3 that we've got into. So let's look more recently here, the last year and a half. So the levels with which we need to concern ourselves with, 475 stands out at a level because of the July 23 highs. Then obviously the December 2023 highs stand out as well at 5 to 5 1/3. More locally though, the highs over here that we printed in November of this year, likely as a response to Donald Trump's election in mid-November, 6 1/4, and then we have a lower high there at 5 1/2. We've been kind of stuck in this range for whatever reason. $3 has been a level of support. I'm talking about that dip in October. I'm talking about the dip in December, late December, and yet again in the mid part of this month. I guess technically now we're at the end or the second or towards the end or the final third of January. But over here, we bottomed out there on January 13th, right at $3. So $3 a level. However, we have more aggressively lower highs and we have higher lows. So I don't necessarily like it as a swing. I'd like something above 4 and a hold above 4. 4 also acting as a resistance level, just owing to this double top that we had on January 6th and January 7th. This is BTBT. I'm talking about only up 1% and 3/4 on the day, despite the fact that Bitcoin itself is up 3 1/4. Bitcoin on the way to 107,000, guys. It's knocking on the door of 107,000 right now, 106,929 as I'm seeing it on the side chart. Intraday though, for BTBT, I mean, if you cut it off the lows, fantastic. The break-even point on this is 368. We're only printing 375 right now. I don't like this name for crypto, nor do I like it intraday. I hate to come out so bleak, but I think the honesty here probably a little bit better that I give you that opinion. So BTBT, definitely not my horse in the race if you're trying to trade crypto. Personally, I'd be looking at the spot coin itself or the ETF, the spot ETF. I'm hesitant to want to recommend any miners. Maybe that's just from my bad experience. I had a bad trade on Mara where I lost a couple of bucks a share, but hey, that doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. And I don't know. I don't know what the bull case is for miners right now. If you guys are in the crypto industry, you guys know exactly why we should be bullish miners with the halving event having taken place, obviously, last year in April. Let me know. I'd love to know. Just give you an example. Mara's down 0.7, even though Bitcoin's up. Riot's only up 1/4. HUT 8 down 2%. So you guys get it. I don't know. I feel these miners are a bit disassociated from the actual price of Bitcoin. But that's just my 2 cents there. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Coffee Trader says BTCT. Neil says, I'm with you on the miners. With respect to that, shout out to Neil. Let's have a look at BTCT for our friend Coffee Trader. BTCT, here we go. BTC Digital. Okay. up 3%, so definitely outperforming BTBT. How's the daily look on this? Okay, so a bit of a tougher look. Obviously, this one also popped up quite aggressively there on the back of the Donald Trump election. Looks like popped up mid-November, November 11th. I don't know if that's when he made any specific pronouncements or anything like that, but we seem to have found a base right around $4. And we found that base for a while. I mean, it was $4.25, $4.10, generally $4. And then we break it quite aggressively the 17th, breaking above that $4 or $5 area. I think we're still going to encounter resistance at around 14, just seeing how the bottom end of this bull flag here looks. So it looks like $14 it held. I don't know. I don't know how I like this. Intraday, though, let's go to the 5. We're straddling VWAP here intraday. I like the higher lows. It's a good look there. Could be a nice flat top break through 8 3/4. I mean, you definitely have resistance at that 8 2/3, 8 3/4. Look at that pre-market top that we put in there at 8 1/3. You also have VWAP right there at 8 2/3. Excuse me, not 8 1/3. Yeah, so a break and hold above that level would be interesting to me, but otherwise, I'm not a big fan of these miners. All right, back to RKLB. We were able to extract some profits there in the high 90s. Back into the low 80s we go. I've already moved up my stop to trigger if we do break below that 3070 area. I perceive this to be a bit of a range between 3080 and 31 and change. At the outliers, it looks like it goes into the 31 mid-teens. But for the most part, the closing prints are south of 31. So keep your eye out on that. Danny Nahas, trade MSTR. So look, obviously MicroStrategy's a very, one of the faves for, obviously, for crypto enthusiastic individuals. Michael Saylor, obviously having done very, very well last year with his portfolio. He's punching in basically buying lots of Bitcoins at all-time highs. He doesn't perceive them to be all-time highs. He perceives them to be higher highs on the way to even more higher highs. It's very volatile. Okay, so you're just going to have to accept that if you're going to buy MicroStrategies, whether as a swing trade or the long term, you got to be ready to stomach that volatility. It's got volatility in spades. If that's not for you, I say stay away from it. Otherwise, you could be, I don't know how many beggars you could get on this, but it's obviously a very strong name. So shout out to the Sailored one there on MicroStrategies. What do you got over there?
Yeah, good stuff there. I just documented our Playmaker poll there, Sharif. So yeah, nice looking equity curve on this one, guys. Continuing to crawl higher. I hope that you guys are starting to document your trading like this as well too. Now we have 28 trades, so over a month of samples here on this specific strategy, and here we are. This is the equity curve resulting in what we've been documenting. Look at this head and shoulder pattern that we formed here. So you can't make this stuff up, but a nice bounce off of the bottom and then now slowly crawling higher. So having fun with this one with you guys, and I hope you guys are implementing this within your trading as well too, because as I mentioned Thursday, we're gonna go over some things that we can do and starting your own day trading playbook. And I think you guys will enjoy that for those who are new and want to get involved in something like that and really just refine your system and what you have, and that's what you need to create when you are trading a structured system. Neil has one, Sean has one, Sharif has one. Referring to is like, okay, if it's below the volume weighted average price, you're not trading it, right? So so small cap from an intraday perspective, but key metrics that he sticks to and rules that he sticks to that allows him to be consistent on that front. So yeah, it's a good look there on that front. On that one, guys, Tesla earnings options. When is Tesla report? I'm not too sure when Tesla reports, but when,
find out right now.
Yeah, we can pull up that, and I'll pull up the options chain as well too on that.
It is.
To see what we got going on for Tesla.
January 29th, aftermarket.
Okay, January 29th. So let's find the closest expiration cycle to the 29th. Oh, it is 2 o'clock, so we'll go through this real quick. January 29th. So the 31st would be the closest expiration cycle. As of right now, I'm not seeing any crazy signs of open interest. Again, I don't know if you want to go with the straddle. You don't necessarily want to go directionally biased here, so you don't want to get it just yet, even though it is next week. But the most open interest I am seeing is around that $440 strike price with 8,000 contracts open. But the at the money IV is 91%, so you will be paying a little bit of implied volatility as the market starts to price that in. But again, you will get volatility with that earnings report on Tesla, so we can talk about assessing those situations tomorrow. But as of right now, Sharif, it is 2 o'clock.
It is. The Katina man is just returning. He was doing work there in the studio.
Nice.
We're shooting. Well, I won't tell you what we're shooting, but we're shooting a bunch of stuff. Obviously, it's for the show. It's for the floor over here. And we're really pumped about it. We have an entire team out from Europe. They're over here. And they've got like directing experience, this, that, and the other. So we're having to do all that kind of stuff. Guys, I want to remind you guys, Netflix, after the bell. Is it you today? It is the Katina man and Adara. It's going to be a big one, NFL Dang X. It's already up 1.7, and it's been knocking on the door of that $900 area. And as Adara mentioned during that Jimmy Carter day, it's had a lot of trouble with 900. So keep your eye on NFL X. It's going to be an interesting one today. Make sure to hang out after 4 o'clock with Adara and the Katina man on the Market Recap Show. But for now, Joseph and I will see you guys same bat time, same bat channel. See you guys. Take it over, Big Kahunas.
Hey, what up, everybody? Back in the saddle. The NASDAQ is back to the highs. I mean, okay, well, NVIDIA was at the high, and now it's breaking a little bit further down, but